But I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you.
Which is the first commandment of all?
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might, and with all thy strength. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
Master, thou hast said the truth. There is one God, and none other but He. And to love Him with all the heart, and with all the understanding, and with all the soul, and with all the strength, and to love his neighbor as himself, is more than all the whole burnt offerings and sacrifices.
Thou art not far from the kingdom of God.
Yo. I'm going live a little earlier than I said I was going to at 2. I was going to go on at 8, but hey Derek, good to see you. Hey Barry, good to see you. Michael just dropped in as well, but he must have dropped out as soon as I seen him type in the. I seen him say to Luke, "Hey Luke, hope you're well," and I was trying to type before he disappeared again, but because I did say 2 o'clock, but I've come on now. I did say 8 this morning, but I changed it to 9 for a reason. But then Vicky's gone and broke her arm. So I was I put in chat here that I haven't slept, so I'm not going on it that time. I will go on after. It wasn't because of that. I just couldn't be bothered to explain that Vicky's broke her arm and they're making her wait 6 hours for an ambulance. The ambulance has just phoned her back. Her arm is swelling up and everything, and got her to take a picture or show them on the smartphone what her arm's like. And now they're going to be another hour, half hour to an hour, unless any cardiac arrests cases come up. Vicky's broke her arm. Either broke it or it's dislocated from the elbow. She can't move it from the elbow down. So she's either broke the joint, and she's saying, if it's dislocated, can't they just pop it back in place? I said, it's not like a shoulder joint. A shoulder joint's a ball and socket joint that goes all the way around. An elbow joint's like a hinge. If you break that, it's different. You can't just pop it back in. And with the swelling, they can't anyway. They'll have to wait for the swelling to go down. Well, they might be able to pop it back in if it is dislocated, if it is just dislocated. But with a joint like an elbow joint, it's not the same as a ball and socket joint. It's like a hinge, isn't it? So we don't know if it's broken. It could be dislocated, but she can't move her arm. It's swollen up a lot, and she's in a lot of pain. She might be I don't know if she's gone to the toilet to try and do the toilet with one hand. You know how, well, you know what women have got to do. One hand. You know what I mean? All that stuff. So she's got to the toilet now. She might be in StreamYard. She's waiting for the ambulance to pick her up. It's ridiculous. It would have to happen as well when I've got no money to send her, to give her to go to hospital. It always happens when you're broke. I don't get paid till like another 3 or 4 days, 3 days, something like that. And it always happens in these times. So yeah, I wasn't because of lack of sleep this morning. It was because of the situation. I just couldn't be bothered to well, I didn't even know if she wanted me to. You know what I mean? So I couldn't really be bothered, or I didn't know if she wanted me to. Me too, Derek. Me too. She might be in the sick, but she'll be all quiet voice and whimpering because she's in a lot of pain. So I'm just waiting for her to come out of the toilet. But yeah, I've just seen like I said, I'll go see. Oh, mind you, I haven't got Element. Yeah, I wonder if he's in Element talking. Give me 2 seconds. Let me just see. Let's see if Michael's in Element, just to see if he's coming in. 2 seconds, guys. It's because he just typed as I was just about to go live, and he must have flicked off. So let's just see if he's going in Element. That's the live chat. 140. what was it, 139. So he's been about. He's not long out of here. Let me just type in here for him. He'll probably be in it too anyway. Right, I've let him know in WhatsApp and in Element. Yes, he sees it. He doesn't need to do it in anyway. He can get in his own accord. So her arm's all messed up at the minute. She did show me on camera what it was like, and it is really swollen up. You know what I mean? People are quite heavy. When you go down, you've got to make sure you hit both hands on the ground, then bend your elbows. Maybe you need to losing a lot of weight might help. You know what I mean? Both of us, when you both need to lose a bloody lot of weight, that might help. Because when you fall, especially with me, I've got, because the accident I had my feet years ago, I've got less than 50% movement. So my balance is out of pot. So if I fall, I end up breaking fingers and everything. So yeah, I've done it. I've broke quite a few fingers now. So yeah, maybe being lighter might help. Yeah, she fell. She was getting dressed, Derek. She was getting dressed, but she was walking. I thought when she explained it, she was getting dressed and kind of tripped up. No, try to get your trousers on, tripped up and fell. No, she was just getting dressed and she was going into the living room and tripped over something. I don't know what. I thought she actually tripped over her trousers getting them on, but no, she tripped over something while getting dressed. You know, I thought she actually tripped over her trousers when she first told me. Yeah. Oh wait, till she comes in, I'll just see I'll quickly get her phone and see if she's off the toilet. See if she's all right. 2 seconds, guys. Oh, that's Michael's. Michael's one. Oh wow. Yeah. Are you off the toilet?
Hey.
Are you off the toilet?
Yeah.
Are you coming in?
I'm just trying to put the t-shirt on.
All right, then. I'll leave it to you then. All right, babe, because Derek's asking if you're all right. Because I don't know the full story, babe. I was a trip, and I was saying, well, I thought it was over your clothes, through your clothes, but it wasn't, was it? I thought you tripped to try to get your clothes on, but you were just getting dressed at the time. Right, okay, come in when you're ready.
All right, baby.
Right, love you.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, she's got to come in. So what do I do? It's a pain in the butt. Like she done it this morning. You know, an ambulance saying 6 hours. That's ridiculous. I've never had the likes of it. I've never had the likes of an ambulance taking 6 hours. Yes, an hour or something maybe, but 6 hours. That's ridiculous. 6 hours for an ambulance, and the ambulance actually just phoned her back, like just before I went live. The ambulance asking to see her arm and stuff like that. That's just beyond a joke. You know what I mean? Somebody's sitting there, and she's actually in an old, like in the bungalow she's on, the house she's in, has got the cables that you can pull in case you do trip, you know, because they're for older people. She's not, obviously I know these pensioner, but it's the only place they could give her. So they've got the long the strings that you can pull in case you get in trouble. So she pulled that as well. And the ambulance, it still took the same length of time, you know, because an operator comes on and they phone an ambulance for you. It still took the same length of time. It's just beyond a joke. I remember being on the street, and even when I was on the street, I mean, I'm in a city though. Even when I was on the street, and my plaster had come off my broken wrist, and I was in a lot of pain. So I phoned the ambulance from my phone box, from a pay booth, whatever you want to say, a phone booth, whatever, phone box. And it took them an hour then, and I thought that was ridiculous, you know. And I was on the street at the time, but they served me quicker on the street than they have Vicky, which is usually they don't do. You know, it's just crazy. Oh, there she is. Hey, babe.
Hi.
Oh, I just realised I put a different background up. Yeah, it's a lot better that one. Say again. No, be careful. So, can you explain how it was you did it?
I went in the living room to get something. I just changed my trousers, and as I was walking out, I tripped and I went down and I put my arm out. And well, I put both my arms out, but the right one got it first, and it just kind of snapped and twisted. That was at 11 o'clock this morning.
No, well, it was a bit earlier than that because I was meant to go in at 9, wasn't I? So I didn't go in because of that. So it
No,
must have been a
when
bit
I
early.
rang the ambulance was at
Yeah.
11.
Oh, then you rang that, right? You rang the ambulance at 11, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
because I didn't know what to do. Because I have anxiety, I don't go out.
I know, but I did tell you that you need the ambulance. So yeah, I would. It wasn't to do with the lack of sleep, guys. Do you know what I mean? It was just I just didn't know what to put up there quickly. I didn't know if Mickey wanted me to say anything, so I just put up lack of sleep. Like because you guys know sometimes I don't sleep, so sometimes I put it forward. And Michael was in there saying, "Oh, you should go to bed at night or whatever," and too much streaming on Saturday. It was nothing to do with that. I'm like, I get where he was at, but it was nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? I'd caught up in sleep
Right.
since then. You know?
So I've been waiting for an ambulance since 11.
Uh-huh.
And they've rang me back and said they're going to try and get one out within an hour, half an hour to an hour.
Hmm.
But, hold on, I just need to lift my arm on the worktop.
You can't even move it. You've got to lift it.
Half an hour to an hour, but that's only if there's no higher categories like cardiac arrest and that. So I've done a while with it like this, but it's sod's law though, innit, that it happens when the day before I get paid.
Of course.
And like for me to get a taxi to the hospital and back is like 80 quid. You know, it's not cheap. So PJ was going mad at me, saying I should just get a taxi there. But I was like, yeah, but then I'm just going to be sat in A&E in agony.
Yeah.
I'd rather be at home.
That's what I'm saying. There's enough money to get you a taxi, but it's either there or back. That's all I've got. Enough money to get you a taxi
And
either
I'd
there or
rather
back.
know that I can get back because of my anxiety and because of leaving the dog on her own. Like now, I'm trying to feed her one-handed because I haven't been able to feed her today, which normally I'd feed her as soon as I got up. My bins aren't in, like there's just stuff that I needed to do that hasn't been done, and obviously it's not going to get done until in a cast or whatever, do you know what I mean? But I had to do a video call with the ambulance service.
I know, I just said that to him. You had to show a picture. You had to show, you had to show your arm on the smartphone. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What would they do if you didn't have a smartphone?
Well, exactly, but like, I haven't.
But I know.
Like this, like today, I haven't even brushed my teeth because
You're right-handed.
yeah, and it's my right hand, and it's snapped and bent and like swollen, and it's just a nightmare. Luckily, I've got a rolling machine that I can use with my left hand to have a fag. Otherwise, I'd be going stark raving crazy.
It's definitely it's healing time, Derek. I mean, hopefully it's just dislocated and there's no operation needed. But like I was saying with a shoulder is a ball and socket joint. It doesn't swell. When your shoulder pops out of the joint, there's not much swelling. There's not much swelling can go on there, is there really? Unless there's a lot of muscle.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture.
Oh, what do you mean? Send it where?
WhatsApp. I'll send it to your WhatsApp. Just on my bent arm.
What, you want me to show people your bent arm?
Yeah, then they can know what I'm on about.
Okay.
It's just bent. There's no blood or nothing. Sorry.
Where is it? Is it in WhatsApp?
Yeah.
What now?
I've just sent it.
Alright. What's that?
Look, I'm proud of myself. I managed to get on a sports bra and a t-shirt with a bent arm.
Ouch.
Trust me, it killed.
It's definitely swollen.
She said I can take a tramadol. I'm not good because I already have.
What about, did you have any pre-guard left?
Yeah, but I haven't taken them.
Yeah, don't mix them.
I'm not because I need they can give me the strong stuff.
Yeah, you can definitely see it swollen. That's a swollen arm, yeah. It's definitely
But see,
swollen.
like where it's bent.
Yeah.
So it's, you know.
It looks like it's popped out to me. And
Yeah, and twisted. But
it's twisted a bit, yeah.
like, it was just one of them, and it would only happen to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
no, like I've fed Minnie now, so
Hmm.
that's one less thing for me to worry about.
Yeah.
I'll put the telly on for her before I leave.
Oh, hold on. When I showed that,
I've got my hairbrush, I've got my purse, I've got my meds.
sorry, that didn't show properly. When I showed that, it only showed the small picture. Hold on. Let me just do it again. What's that? It should have been showing entire screen, I suppose. So I did that. Right. So then.
Like they told me 6 hours, up to 6 hours for an ambulance. Like, and I can't do anything. There's nothing. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not that person. I don't like being doing nothing.
I know. You can definitely see that it's swollen, and it looks like it's popped out a bit, but
Derek, that's terrible.
it's definitely swollen. Anyway, I'll
Hi,
take
JP. But yeah, no. So now I'm just waiting for an ambulance to come.
Yeah.
I've spoke to next door. They're gonna look after Minnie.
Right.
They'll feed her and take her out and that.
I told you.
And then it's just me, innit? But like, I don't like going out, so going to the hospital's like major anxiety for me.
I know it's got to be done.
And I can't stand the fact I haven't brushed my teeth this morning. I feel like a minnow.
Well, it happens.
I had to try and put deodorant on, right, with a dislocated arm, maybe broken, who knows? I'll update you all when I know. But
that's not a knee. That's her elbow. It's swollen. She's fell over and hit. I think dislocated her elbow. She's been waiting hours and hours for an ambulance. She's got quite big arms anyway. We're big people. You know what I mean? But that's definitely swollen from the elbow down. It's definitely swollen.
My fingers are really swollen, and I managed to get my engagement ring off my left hand with my right hand. Don't ask me how, but I did it because.
So that's why I wasn't on this morning. I just put it down to sleeping.
The thought of them cutting my engagement ring off is a no. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Weird. It's weird that Michael came in here at 1:41 and said hello to Luke, but he hasn't come back. Weird. I mean, he hasn't even seen my. I don't think he's seen my WhatsApp. Or has he?
He's probably not expecting you to be on.
Well, not well, maybe. No, well, why would he come back to the thing? I don't know. He'll get a notification anyway. I'll quickly ring him. 2 seconds.
Hey, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And note to self, watch where you're walking.
Got to say I'm live, dude. If you wanted to come in.
Yeah, just give me 5 minutes. I'm just making a dinner, like, so
no problems, dude.
I'm gonna be in and out anyway, like, but I'll jump in 5 minutes.
No problems. I'm not going to be talking much because it's a testimony. It's an hour and a half long. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the ambulance with Vicky. It's got to be about half an hour, unless there's any cardiac arrest case. But I'm live now anyway. I'll just put this.
How's she gonna get home?
I've got enough money for a taxi one way. So it's either she went there with it or come back with it. You know what I mean?
Hi, Michael.
Vicky saying hello. She's in the StreamYard waiting for the thing. But it does look swollen. I've just showed everybody on screen. But I'll see you when you come in. I'll just start the.
Yeah, give me 5 minutes, dude.
All right, no problems. I'll just start the testimony, and I'm not going to be talking much anyway. Bless, dude.
Right.
Yeah, he says it'll be 5 minutes. So what I'll do, guys, I'll just start playing the testimony. Yeah, that was Michael on the phone. Yeah, it was. I was phoning him to see if he's coming in, but he's making some dinner and that. He said it'll be 5 minutes. He'll be in and out anyway. But like I say, I'm not going to talk much because it's an hour and a half testimony. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was. There it is. So I'm just going to play it, and if I've got something to say, but I'll say it's tough talk. It's this I think I might have explained it on Flaxes. When I was in rehab in 2003, 2004 in London, I heard of this Tough Talk. Tough Talk is a group of people who used to be like gangsters in London and people and fighters. People used to fight into violence and stuff, into gang crime, that kind of thing. And some of them are like martial arts experts, but the hardy guys. Hence the title Tough Talk. That's the name of their ministry. They're now born again Christians, and they have been for years. And they've got their own ministry now, where they go around prisons ministering to people. But this is one of the guys from Tough Talk, called Ian, talking to Bob from Speaker's Corner about his testimony. And I've met them. I met them years and years ago. They came to our can't remember if I met them in church or they came to our actual Christian rehab that we was at. But we definitely watched lots of videos of them. I either seen them once in church or once at rehab. I can't remember. But they were cool guys. I'm just wondering if it's new guys in the ministry or if it's still all the old guys, I think. So I'll just get it started.
Do you know what I just thought?
Well,
It's
baby.
a good job I don't drink, isn't it? Because imagine how clumsy I'd be.
No, exactly. I seen a video this morning as well.
Do you know what I would love to see now? Some paramedics with some painkillers that I can take that are going to work.
Mm-hmm. I know. I get it. Oh, well. Oh, it's that. Okay.
Well, just
Well,
give me
it's
gas and air.
Sorry?
What?
They might give you gas now. You might get some nitrous oxide. We can get some whippets.
I just want the pain to go away.
I think it's right. Hold on a minute. Oh, it is. It is the right one. I was thinking it was the wrong video, but it's not. It's the right one.
Over there, and probably some clips at some. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where you are in the world. And welcome to
So you recognise Bob from Speaker's Corner.
another live stream. And going to be joined by Ian McDowell from Tough Talk, and we're going to be talking about his testimony, the work of Tough Talk in prisons and prison ministry, and also in regards to the church in prison. As many of you know,
And it's a good ministry. I mean, what does it scripturally? It says people it went to visit people in prison, visit people in prison. Do you know what I mean? And feed the elderly, feed the poor, and all that kind of stuff. It says these things, you know. Hey, Michael, how you doing, man? Yep, he's in, but I can't hear him. And he's not muted either. Yeah. Okay. Maybe he's just in. Maybe he's doing something. He did say he was making. Oh, there he is.
Something weird was going off.
All right, you're right, dude.
One of them days,
Yeah, yeah.
Michael.
How's it going, Vicky?
It's been better.
How's
It's
your
not
arm?
good score. Yeah.
Ben,
So, is it bent?
yeah.
I'll quickly show the swelling again. 2 seconds.
It's like my elbow and the top of my arm is disconnected. Like
Actually, I've already showed
lower
these, so
arm.
I've already showed these, so I'll forward it to you on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So you can see what's
My elbow is like on the lower bit of my arm, not on the top bit.
So, I didn't manage to do that, Vicky.
Tripped.
I thought she was
Don't
actually
give me
getting her
a-
trousers on when she done it. No, she was actually getting dressed, but not in the act of getting dressed. You know what I mean? Yeah, I've said it to you on WhatsApp.
Were you getting dressed on a high wire or something?
No, do you know what it was? I was getting dressed and I ran in the living room to get some, and I tripped going out, and I put my arms out, and obviously my right hand has gone down first.
Hmm.
And when I've gone to get up, I kind of knew from the way it landed. And when I've gone to get up, my arm was just floppy, and I was like, what? Right, here's my ambulance. I'll keep you updated.
Oh, is it? Okay. All right, babe. Love you.
Love you.
All right, are you going out now?
Well, I've got to put the dog in the kitchen.
Right. Well,
All right, well,
on the phone, babe.
yeah.
All right,
Right. Make
Let
sure.
us know how you go on.
I
Yeah.
will
Make
do.
sure you take a charge away, yeah,
I know, I've already got my hairbrush and all of it.
just in case they keep you in. All
I
right,
know.
babe. Right.
Love
Let me
you.
know what's going on. I love you too.
All right, take care, Vicky.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Yeah, really unfortunate, man. But yeah, that's why I just put in this morning. It was to do with sleep. I didn't know if Vicky wanted me to say anything or anything like that. So yeah, so like from 9 o'clock I was meant to go on, but then till 11 o'clock I'm saying, oh, you need to go to the bloody hospital, and she didn't know what. I'm like, you need to phone, and she was just worried because no money to get there or get back. I'm like, well, I've only got this, but I can make it one way. Well, I'll keep that for coming back. I'm like, so you're going to wait for like 6 hours for the ambulance, and then worry about getting back. So she was. It's up to her if she wanted to do that. I advised her to take the money, go and come back get back some of that. I'm sure you can get help somehow. You know what I mean? Because her next door neighbour told them that they would help her. But I've been to hospital before with no money and they don't. I've never seen them help you get back.
I've not known them like give you an ambulance back unless you've been
Taken there.
picked up to go for like a day surgery.
Exactly.
Or if you're on a ward, like, and
Exactly.
even if you do get one of them, you can wait hours for one of them, and then it drops 1,000 people off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The only time I got taken back and forth to hospital was when I was in a wheelchair and I was in a respite home with it. You know what I mean? That was back in 2011 when I was only in my 30s. I was the oldest person in the youngest person in the respite home. I felt so. It's because they didn't have more. It's because I was in hospital for 2 months and they needed the bed, so they put me to a respite home, and I was in there for another 2 months. I'm like, wow, I felt like a child, even though I was like coming up to, well, what was I? When I did it, 2011, 33-ish, 34 maybe. 2011?
It's like when I did that railway course.
35, sorry.
When I did that railway course, they were all like 17-year-old and that. And they were calling me granddad.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. Yeah. And the thing is, we still feel like because I'm still in my 40s, but in my 30s now, you still feel like you're 80. In your head, you still feel like a teenager sometimes. You sometimes still look young, and it's like, and you're talking about old people that are just 10 years older than you, and they're like, wow, they're only 10 years older. What I'm saying, are they old? They're not old, or I'm old, and they're not young. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy when we go from talking about being young people to being older. It's like, where's the transition? Sometimes I think you just get to a point where you have to accept that you're not young anymore.
It's your body, isn't it, that starts failing you? Like,
it is your body.
Like my knee's shot to pieces. Like it clicks when I walk. Sometimes it feels like it's going to lock. Sometimes it feels like it's going to give way. If I wear a knee support, it's not too bad, but
I'd say
something not right with it.
Well, mine's my feet because I had that accident with my feet, and they were all smashed up. My calcaneums were smashed up. I had compound fractures, both calcaneum and left ankle. But I mean, I've obviously got residual pain from that. I mean, that's why I don't work because of that, and I can't walk properly because of that. I've got, like I say, my balance is all pop. But I had an injury in my knee when I was about 14 that used to bother me. It didn't bother me throughout the day, but when I fall asleep and wake up, straightening out, it was so much in pain. But that disappeared, and that disappeared for years and years and years and years, and now it's come back. So yeah, it does. It's your body, it feels. You're right. So this, like I said, guys, this is a testimony from Ian from Tough Talk, and it's Bob from Speakers Corner talking to him. Like I said, these guys, I met them probably I was either in the rehab or in a church, but we definitely watched loads of videos about them. You know, Tough Talk. They go around prisons talking to prisoners, hopefully getting them. Bring them to salvation, you know what I mean, through the Lord. And like I said, they're ex-gangsters, ex-fighters, you know what I mean? No, I don't mean UFC fighters, but they used to fight, you know what I mean? Violence, not they're into violence. And London gangsters, you know the one, Michael, that type of thing. And I know one of them was a karate expert. They still do it. They still do weights. They still do karate and all that. They're still into their fitness and stuff. Hence you've seen the thumbnail. That's their logo, the one in the background which got the weights and that. But we'll get on with it. It's Bob from Speakers Corner talking to him.
the scriptures tell us to remember those in prison. And so
saying that.
we've had a couple of talks now, actually, where we've talked about prisoners and Christian prisoners in particular. And it's time for another one. I'm doing this from a hotel room. I've just been filming with Father Calvin for the Lotus Eaters. So you'll see that behind their paywall for those of you that are subscribed over there, and probably some clips at some point, I guess, on YouTube. But without further ado, I will bring in our guest. Peace be with you, Ian. How you doing?
Hey, brother, how are you?
Well, thank you. Good to have you back.
Hey, thanks
What's
very
this,
much.
the third time now we've done a live stream together?
Well, I think you've done a couple on our platform, haven't you, before? So
yeah,
I'm not sure, but yeah, it's good to see.
Getting up quite a number. You're definitely one of the regulars.
You're looking younger every time I see you, brother. I don't know if you've had a beard or a shave cut there.
I've shaved the beard. It's for the summer. It'll be back for winter for the fans of the beard. I think setting up a Bob's Beard fan club. And
it makes you look younger when you haven't got the hair on the chin. But
exactly. But this camera's the computer camera, so it's not particularly great. And this room that I'm in is not particularly well lit. So
you look well anyway. There you go.
Thank you so much. Right, Ian.
I've seen them in. I'm sure he's one of the same guys. I seen them in 2003, 2004. That's 20 odd years. 20 years, 21 years, 20 years. Wow. This still looks like one of the same guys. See, I don't know. Obviously, people new come to ministries and all that. So I'm still not sure if it's one of the same guys, but it looks like it.
We always do. We're going to start off with a prayer, a psalm. So if you want to read the psalm as our opening prayer, and we'll dive straight into it.
Let's do that. I've chosen Psalm 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way.
Good to see you, Space Miner. Good to see you, Alan Norstrand, Glenn Sauls. I didn't read everybody's names out, did I? Good to see you, Derek. Good to see you, Just JP. Michael, Roger was here earlier. Good to see you all. Anybody else? That's it. Good to see you guys.
Of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. And his delight is in the law of the Lord, and his law does he meditate day and night. He should be like a tree planted by rivers of water. It brings forth its fruit in all season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper. The ungodly not so, but are like chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore, the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor the sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, and the way of the ungodly shall perish.
That's the word. This is the word. Lord, thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God.
Great to have you. So you're going to be sharing your testimony with us. So let's how would you like to do it? Shall I just
say when I seen them, there was about three or four, maybe four guys, and they all kind of give the testimony. So maybe I don't know if he was one of them, but he looks familiar, so I would presume so.
Let you talk, or shall I ask you questions, or?
Well, should I? I could just start off and talk, and if you want to jump in, jump in. Yeah,
I'll jump in and ask questions to pad out things. So
fantastic. Just as a background, really, Bob, I grew up in London, in East London, and many years ago, I had come from a very dysfunctional family back in the 60s. By those standards, it was very dysfunctional. I grew up with 7 brothers, and we all had different dads, if you know what I mean. So it was a kind of a crazy lifestyle.
7 brothers could be fun, but also very dysfunctional.
I had, and it wasn't surprising really that I went down a sort of a dodgy path, a crooked path. But I got heavily involved in bodybuilding as a young man, and that consumed me. I got heavily involved in anabolic steroids to the point where for about 8 years I cheated in my sport of bodybuilding and was injecting over 400 milligrams a day into my body.
Wow.
And it caused serious side effects to my health. I ended up in hospital because of the abuse and misuse of the anabolic steroids.
Injecting 400 milligrams, that's injecting 4 grams of powder. That's a lot of powder to inject. That's a lot, or it could be liquid, whatever. Obviously, with my experience, I injected powder made into liquid, obviously. But to do 400 milligrams, oh no, sorry, 400 milligrams, you said. 4,000 milligrams is 4 grams. Still a lot. It's still a lot, depending on the toxicity of stuff. So I thought you said 4,000. I was thinking 400 was, yeah, no, it's 4,000 milligrams. It's 4 grams. Sorry, my bad.
Ended up literally damaging my kidneys. So even I've been drug free something like 30 plus years, but I still will suffer the consequences of that steroid abuse back in those days. Started to urinate blood. Even today, I'll probably have problems. I'll wake up every now and then with that issue. Remember sitting in a gym in Bow, East London. I don't know if you know Bow, East London very well, but I was in Bow, East London, and there was a...
Well, East London's actually where I lived when I was in rehab. It was only 6 months I was there, but Bow's not too far away from where I was Barking. I lived in Ilford, near Barking, but Bow was a bit of a better area, not too far.
The guy in there, they used to call him Mad Dog. And Mad Dog was there one day and he offered me a job on the door, and this was back in the 1980s. And back in those days, there was door supervisors, as they call them today. They were bouncers back in those days, Bob. And these particular group of bouncers, there was no licensing, there was no accreditation, there was no health and safety. They were run by sort of hooligans and gangs. And this particular gang had come out of something called the ICF, which was a football hooligan organization.
I suppose it's the same as your casinos and that, all run by the gangs and whatever. Well, not so much gang, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Run by the criminals of society, that's for sure.
Part of West Ham. And so this was like an offshoot of this gang. And I remember sitting in the gym and he said to me, son, do you want to work with me on the door tonight? And I remember looking at him thinking, what if I end up looking like you? I mean, he was the scariest bloke I'd ever seen in my life. And I remember as he was... he said to me this, he said, I'll give you double bubble, son, if you come to work with me, double the money. And
double bubble, wow. Sorry, guys, that reminds me in prison. When I was in prison, you know it, even in the States now, probably not called double bubble, but double something. If you got a quarter ounce of tobacco, someone, it was used to get a square block, you don't get them anymore. It's all 50 grams and stuff now. But it used to be 12 grams, which we called half ounce, which is near enough half ounce. 14 grams is half ounce, isn't it? But we call it half ounce, 12 grams. And it used to be in a rectangular box, and in prison, they'd cut them in half. Then half of that would go to one person, half to go to another person. Then you'd have to give them double back, which was on your payday, on your canteen day, which was called double bubble. And that's even come to the point where it's in street language now. It's not just jail language. People say it in the streets now. Oh, you owe me double bubble for that, you know? But originally it was jail language. Double bubble. Hey, Chilean, good to see you, bro. Good to see you, man.
I remember thinking to myself, yeah, I have some of that. I have one go at that and I'll call it a day. But I went to work that night with him. And for the next 8 years of my life, I worked in the pubs, the clubs, the nightclubs in the East London, parts of Essex, but predominantly East London back in those days. No CCTV cameras, no phones and cameras.
Essex is actually where I was at, Essex, Ilford in Essex.
No licensing. So there was a lot of violence. There was a lot of crime. And if you combine that with anabolic steroids and the use of steroids, you've got a dangerous cocktail of aggression and violence. We found ourselves getting arrested, charged with many offences, which I'm not proud of any of this. You know, I have to say, I'm ashamed to say, I turned my back on anyone who'd ever cared for me, loved me, turned my back on my family. People tried to reach out to me, but as a young man, I thought I was invincible. We learn, don't we, in life as it goes on, that that's not the case. I remember one night we threw a fella out the bar and he came back shooting at the door. And my pal died, bullet hit his heart, and he died in front of us. And I remember that night, a fear gripped me, really, a fear of death. I used to sleep with a carving knife under my pillow, with my hand on the handle of the knife, out of fear it was going to come through my door and breaking the law.
What were you scared of there, Ian? Like, was it a
death,
case
really?
that you
Death.
up with the... No.
I mean, I suppose a lot of people who go out and do things against people are scared of repercussion. So that's probably what you're scared of. Things coming back in them. Yeah.
But were you mixed up with a gang that was having rivalry with another gang, or were you in trouble with the wrong sort of people? Or was it just kind of like
good question.
Or was it just kind of like a general safety thing, like they do on lots of council estates?
No, it was more the work I was involved in and the people I was working with and the environment, particularly of the clubs and the bars back in the 80s.
You had a repercussion of some sort because people will come through your doors for these type of things, especially if you get involved in gangsters. You know what I mean? You do something against somebody that has got an affiliation with a gang, then it's possibly got to come to your door. You know.
And early 90s, so there was a lot of violence. There was a lot of people getting shot. I mean, I've seen people get stabbed to death. All sorts of crazy stuff happened back in those days. That's why they regulated the industry back in 2000. So you know, the world of security's changed dramatically since then. They weeded out all these kind of crazy characters. There was a lot of madness. It was a very cliquey environment. You're never sure if there was true friends, who was your associate, who you could trust. Frightened, I had a fear of when I watched this man die. I had a fear of death, though, that could be me one night. You know, like that is that going to be my end? You know, and to top it off, guys around me were dying of the abuse of steroids back in those days. I had a friend, John Whitman, died. He had a heart attack. Best pal of mine. He was a middleweight. I was a light heavyweight. I used to inject him. He used to inject me. Had a heart attack. Died. There was another heavyweight, a guy called Gary, who was a British heavyweight champion. Died. So I'd lie in my bed. So I'd be okay during the day. I'd be walking around as if I had it all together, Bob. But at night, in the silence of my night, I would then.
He's probably shit scared, basically. Hence the knife under the pull-out. But yeah. In that kind of environment, you are going to get well, not always, but of course you are. In that kind of environment, you're going to get
You're always looking over your shoulder, definitely.
Of course. Yeah. And if you, like I said a minute ago, if you get involved, if you're affiliated, or you harm someone that's got any affiliation with a gang or whatever, or to the family or whatever, possibly coming to your door. It's possibly coming to your door. So I understood why he was sleeping in a car with a knife under his pillow.
Start to hear my heartbeat and panic about death and what was going to happen to me. You know, that fear of, you know, I'm actually not immortal. Life could be over at any moment. I had a funeral suit. That's how bad it was. I was going to so many funerals. I kept a suit just purely for the funerals. That's what it was like back then. Wow. So yeah, it was a genuine fear. And then I suppose you'd have to say nowadays, they would call it mental health issues, anxiety, stuff like that. You know, I used to just think I had something wrong with my nut. Something wrong was not right there, you know. Which led me to really come into faith.
Chilean. I've nutted a few people, then told them my address, hoping they'd come back. Yeah, but hopefully you haven't nutted a few gangsters and tell them to come to your address.
That fear, I suppose, propelled me into asking some questions. Amongst that, I started having these nightmares about God. And this God was like in my nightmares, like, and when I say nightmares, I'd wake up in a ball of sweat out of panic because this God was like this judge that was coming out of the sky. And I just remember lying prostrate on my face out of fear, you know, of the wickedness that I was. And I think, you know, what's going on here? What's happening? And I couldn't get it out of my head. And to be honest with you, I got involved in, this is quite a serious incident. I got involved in a fight in a nightclub in a place called Ilford, which is sort of...
Ilford, that's where I lived. I was just saying that. So yeah, they were. So I dare say when I had seen them, it was probably at the church I was at, and it could have been at the rehab because they were both in Ilford. So yeah, that's probably why I seen them. That's probably why we watched a lot of their videos, because they were from around that area. That's probably why. I knew they were from around London. I didn't know they were actually in that part of London. I was in rehab at the time. So that's probably why we got to see them, because they were quite close and they were a ministry that probably agreed with what we were doing. You know, because drug addicts getting clean, becoming Christians, and going doing ministry work, because that's what the Teen Challenge, the Christian rehab I was at when you completed it, when you were nearly completed, you had a choice to go on missionary work to India or a place in India, I can't remember where it was, or Swaziland, where there was a lot of AIDS, Swaziland in Africa, where there was a lot of AIDS and drug addiction. We had the choice to do that, sort of thing. So I dare say they agreed with what we were doing, and obviously they were probably frequent visitors to new incomers to that rehab because of being in the same proximity, I suppose.
East London, but Essex, and it was a big nightclub. I ended up in hospital, got squirted with ammonia in my face. Took a bit of a beating that night, but one of the guys I was with nearly died. They put a pickaxe handle across his head several times. So this was another group of doormen against us guys, and I would have to say we probably was in the wrong, but you know, looking back anyway at the situation, but we came off worse. I got out the next day. My friend had some surgery. Put plates in his head, all sorts of things happen.
Hi, Derek. For a while, I never even knew Chile Ing was called Chile Ing. I just always called him Chilling. I never noticed it was chilling, and I didn't even notice the space. I noticed the full stop, the period, whatever you want to call it, and I knew there was a space between it, but I never knew the space between Chile and Ing, and I always thought it was just chilling. It's just the way I seen it, chilling.
A few months passed. I went to see this guy, and at the time we were doing a bit of debt collecting during the day as well, and that wasn't regulated by the Office of Fair Trade, if you know what I mean.
And much was regulated back then.
Nothing was. And I went to see this guy a few months after the incident.
Did you just like look through the job adverts and go, I'm looking for unregulated work here? Like,
well, the thing about it was, you raised that question. The truth was you just had to know people to get into that kind of world. If you wanted to get into that kind of work, you know, you didn't. It was no job interviews. There was no. It was all about who you knew, and the click around that, and that I suppose creates its own anxiety and fear because you're never sure where people were thinking back in those days. You know, very strange fellas. But getting back to my story, this guy ended up going to a church, and it was an Elim Pentecostal church, if that means anything to any of your listeners. And he went to a big meeting in a place called Kensington Temple, which is over West London, so a long way from East London.
I've actually been to Kensington Temple. That was with the rehab as well. That was just to go and see some. I think we actually went to see some African gospel dancers. That's what we went to see. Oh, and straw. It was pretty good actually. It was pretty good. But I'm sure that was Kensington Temple. Sure it was. I could be wrong, but I think it was.
And he ended up someone praying for him. And at the time, he had partial sight in his eye. He couldn't hear out of his ear, and he had a gap in his jaw. And someone prayed for him that night. He said, he felt like electricity was running through him. And he literally phoned me up. I just got home from the door.
I don't like the electricity stories. It reminds me on Todd White. He got electricity going through him when he was saved, but it was painful. And yeah, we all know Todd White he wasn't experiencing the Holy Spirit. He was experiencing those types of spirit, that's for sure. I mean, he might have been experiencing the Holy Spirit at one point, but he certainly didn't. No. I would say no with Todd White completely. Complete con or complete other spirit.
He said, he said, Jesus has healed me. I said, all right, pal, I'll come. And, I'm sure he has. I thought, like, there's no such thing as God and there's no such thing as Jesus. And if there was.
Oh, your dad was brought up in West End of London. This is East End, but yeah, they're not far apart, obviously. Yeah, just over the river.
Such a thing as God and Jesus. Why would he heal? If he heals, why would he heal him? It was my thought process. Yeah. I mean, there's nice people Bob need to be healed.
It's weird you should say that, because when I was in rehab, and I used to have my doubts, like, no problem with God and Jesus and all that, but I had doubts about my sins being forgiven, whether I'd be forgiven for having a hand in my friend's death when I was done with manslaughter and that. People say, well, of course you can be forgiven that. God forgives all sins and stuff. But they say, don't you believe that God forgives you? I'm like, yeah, I believe God forgives people and forgives everybody and can do everything, but I doubt that he forgives me. And for some reason, I doubted it, that I could be forgiven. But everybody else could. But for me, for some reason, I was like, I just doubt he will forgive me. Or I never feel forgiven. And he says, well, that's not you. That's not God. That's something else making you feel that way. That's not God making you feel that. Because, of course, if you want to be forgiven, you're forgiven. You know what I mean? Simple as that. But yeah, I used to think along that lines. Even if there is a God, which I kind of had no problem with, he's not going to do this for me. know what I mean? That's how I used to feel about dreams. Absolutely. I get that feeling.
It's nuts, you know. And but I went to see him the next day, and he told me a story about going to this church. Now these guys that took him had told him that, you know, you have to forgive the people that have done this to you. And he said, I had a big row about forgiveness. They didn't realize I was getting these guys, you know, that there was dangerous things being involved here. And he said, as I went to walk in that church that night, I just thought, God, if you're real, if you really can help me, I'll forgive them. He said, and that's when they started to pray for me. There was actually a preacher that got him to stand up. His name was Charles Slagle. He was an American guy. And the people put their hands on him, and this incredible kind of supernatural encounter happened. I couldn't get it out of my head. I thought, could God be that real? I'm driving home one night, sitting in my car at a 7-year prison sentence hanging over my head.
He certainly can. And it's the same as me when I seen certain things and people told me certain things. I was like, are they just saying this? I mean, I had no problem believing in God. I was like, are they just saying these things? Are they actually telling me the truth that this happened? I wasn't sure whether I believe people's testimonies because I was in a drugs rehab. People lie. You know what I mean? Drug addicts lie. You know what I mean? They weren't on. I mean, they've been clean of drugs for a good few months by this point. But they're telling me things that God have done from within the rehab, and I'm like, really, is that really what's going on? And it is. I mean, I experienced it myself, but there is a lot of doubt to begin with. Of course there is.
Head. I'm covered in some fella's blood. I've got weapons all over me. I've got a big bag of steroids in the boot of the car. I was sending a lot of steroids. Everything I did, Bob, from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed was wrong. Everything about my thinking was wrong. I did deserve prison. I did deserve hell. But that night, Grace.
It's a problem with a lot of us. Thinking is completely wrong, and we think we're right. We think we're right. I mean, look at some of the anti-flat earthers, how they think, how they jump through mental gymnastics just to deal with what they've got to deal with. You know?
Touched my heart. I remember sitting in my car and I turned the engine off. And again, the whole paranoia of death, sitting with this guy's blood on me. And I remember just saying, Jesus, if you're real, could you forgive me for the scumbag I've become? Could you forgive me for who I am? And at that moment, I just thought this incredible sense of peace and love.
I know where you're on about, Alan, but yeah, no, I've never actually been on that tower. Never been on that tower. I've been in the London Eye, obviously that's come out later. But yeah, in the 70s now. I don't even, is that tower still there? But I've never been in it. Never been in it.
As if everything was going to be all right. I remember tears streaming down my eyes. I went home that night and I had a miracle. I fell asleep. And as I fell asleep, I felt like this darkness was lifting from me. I had a peaceful sleep for about 14 hours. I hadn't slept properly for weeks and months, always out of fear, waking up, what was coming through my door. That night I fell asleep, woke up. I thought, was that God? Could that be God? And if that is God, I need to investigate this, because I just thought, if that is God and God is real, it's the most important thing. That
I remember having some dreams while I was in rehab, thinking, could that be God? You know, like the way he's talking to me. And yeah, some dreams I think, what? Some dreams I think, wow, because they're stuck in my mind. I had this dream that God said that I don't know, I can't remember it exactly. I think what came out of the dream was, is I got shot. I got shot in the dream, but I was still alive. And when I got shot, I felt, after I got being shot, I felt brilliant. Like I was like, I'd moved to a different level. Like, oh, I'm not dead. I'm actually alive. And I think what someone kind of interpreted the meaning for me was like, it was die to yourself. You know, you've got to die to your flesh, sort of thing. So when I got shot in that dream and felt better, it was about dying to yourself and you'll get closer to God. That's how someone translated to me. And it's a dream that always stuck with me, because a lot of dreams just disappear when you wake up. But it always stuck with me. Even though I don't know the ins and outs of the dream now, I know the basic outline was like, if I was propositioned by God or something that I can't remember, if I just died or whatever, then it'd be better. And I got shot from someone and I died and I felt better. No, I didn't die. Sorry, I didn't die. I got better, but the shooting was all about dying to the flesh. You know what I mean? That's what I was told anyway. Someone sort of interpreted it. And I could go along with that, definitely, because it was a dream. It stuck with me and it kind of helped me sort of like, I mean, everybody needs to die to the flesh every day. It's a thing, it happens. But I was being very fleshy at that point. We are, even when we first go into Christianity, because that's all you know. So I do believe that God talks us through dreams. or helps us through dreams.
Important than anything, more important than life itself, if there really is a God. Couldn't wait to go to a church. Went down to this church in Canning Town. It was an Elim church.
Canning Town.
And this guy there recognized me, and he recognized me from the bad side of life. His name was Tony Sapriani. And Tony pulled me aside and said, Ian, what are you doing? I told him my story. He said, Ian, God is a spirit. He said, and the spirit of God's touched your life. But he said, you still got to choose, mate. He said, you've got to repent of your sins. You've got to turn from that life of you've been living. You've got to go the direction of the cross. You've got to follow Jesus Christ. You've got to trust in the accomplishment of the salvation of Jesus, who died for us and rose again. And I remember not really quite understanding the gospel back in those days, but I was just convinced this guy was telling me the truth. By what I had encountered, he encouraged me to read the Bible. He started to spend time with me, praying with me and opening up the Bible to me. And I remember praying and crying out to God. And
it's good. Derek says, yeah, there's no rest like God can give. It happened to me 24 years ago. Most places I can never have. Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly.
And just to add to that, like that's what I've noticed. Like God puts other Christians in your path. You know what I mean?
He does. Absolutely.
To like give you some advice, give you some inspiration. Guide you. And as it happens, loads have popped into my life. Even a friend who I went to school with, who I've not seen in like 30 years.
No, that was mental. That's really good.
It's been a long time Christian, like comes from a Christian family.
I mean, I had another story like that. It's not my story, but I mean, one of the guys I was in rehab with, in fact, he became staff. Oh no, yeah, he did actually become staff. I was thinking it was the wrong guy, but then I got the right guy in my head, but he still became staff. Yeah, so he became staff for this place, and he was telling us a story of like when he became to the same rehab, he had people after him and stuff like that. So he only came to rehab to get away from them. But then coming to rehab, he come to find God. And then it come to the point where he had to go to church with him. And he went to church, and it was a church near his hometown. And like going through his hometown, he used to duck down in the minibus and all that in case this person or people would see him. And then this first time he went to church, the person, he ducked down, didn't see him, no, he got to church, and the person was behind him in the church. And he's like, oh no, they knew I was coming for some reason, followed me here or whatever, I knew I was coming, I'm going to get done in. And afterwards, he was he didn't know if the guy had seen him or whatever, didn't know why he was at the church, he just thought it was for him, could be for him, sort of thing. But on the way out, he started ducking out afterwards, and the guy comes up to him and says, oh, I remember you and all that, name and stuff like that. And he's trying to get away from him, and he's just saying, oh, and he's all carrying, he's like, I'm sorry about what happened. He says, oh, listen, I just came to say, look, forget about that stuff. I found God. I wanted to tell you about this thing, and you came to mind, and I want to tell you that Jesus loves you. So they both found God. You know what I mean? Both found because he was crap scared of bumping into this guy in his gang and all that, in case he got done in, actually killed. And the guy came along and to tell him that he wanted him to find God as well. You know what I mean? That's crazy. That's just how God works, you know. Imagine sitting there the whole service crapping yourself, then at the end it'd be like, oh, thank you, Lord. You know what I mean?
It's funny that I met someone I used to get fed off, like weren't in trouble with him or no, like, you know, but just seen him in town, not seen him for a while, like, and yeah, he was sat with preachers while they were preaching in town. I was like, what are you doing? He was like, I've found God.
Wow.
Like, never.
It's amazing. It's the most unlikeliest of people as well. When you see them, like, wow, really? Crazy. There you go. God chooses the most unlikeliest. He loves us all.
And I think that's just a continual process in our Christian life. You know, that kind of, you confess your sins, he's faithful and just to forgive us and cleanse us. I think that acceptance of what he's done and that work in sanctification, that work going on in my life. And, none of us are perfect, as you know, brother, but that moment, it was like a pivotal moment. I decided I've walked with the devil long enough, and I was now going to start to serve the Lord. And I ended up getting involved, or actually found in a charity back in 1994, 95 we started. And one of the first invitations I had was to go into a prison. And so the charity was called Tough Talk, as you said at the start. And we've been a registered charity for over 25 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And
So
we will do all sorts of meetings.
So when 25 years, so this is recent. So when I had seen them, the ministry was only 3-4 year old. So yeah, I was quite lucky to get to see him at the start of the ministry. So yeah, he's been there since the start. So I would have seen this guy. Yeah, he did ring a bell.
From schools, prisons, the Royal Navy, Army, police. We go into prisons, sharing our testimonies, sharing the gospel message at the end of it. So we use the testimonies as a way of leading to the truth of the gospel, because it doesn't lead to Jesus as far as I'm concerned. It's not worth sharing, is it? So that's in a nutshell a little bit about my background and my history and how I ended up getting involved in prison work.
The more I'm watching this guy, the more I think I've seen him before, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know I've seen him now, obviously, with what he's explained. But because there was so many, there was a good few members, 3 or 4, and I don't know how many, if there's people joined since. I didn't know which one.
I remember seeing this, what's going off in the background, thinking like, is that guy sat in front of a pyramid?
Yeah.
Definitely seen it before.
He's probably given his testimony all over the place, because it's a good testimony. I mean, and they've got a ministry that reach out to a lot of people, and it's been, like you say, it's been going 25 years now. So when, like I say, when I seen him, it was only a few years old, that ministry. Brilliant.
Just tell us, like you said that you had like everything that you.
I'm saying it's what God wants you at the time, because who would have guessed I would have been in London at that point when he gave his testimony? Because I went from the furthest end of Scotland to the furthest end of England to go to rehab. Do you know what I mean? I should never have been in London. I'm from way up north in Scotland. So it's only because I had an addiction I ended up in London at that place. It's the only place it would have took me, you know? It's the only place it could have took me the next day, because the rehab I went to, you're meant to phone in every day for about 8 weeks to show that you're willing to change. But I was desperate to go, and they took me in the next day. And they don't usually do that. So yeah, who would have guessed I would have ended up in London and meeting these guys. And now today I see him again, just by passing with Bob off Speaker's Corner, looking through his stuff, you know. Crazy. And as soon as I seen Tough Talk, I was like, ooh, wow, Bob's been talking to Tough Talk. Cool. It's a small world as well as a big one, you know.
You doing from the moment you woke up to the moment you went to bed was wrong. Like, what are the avenues by which people end up walking into sort of a criminal lifestyle? Like,
you did, Derek. Jesus said, "My strength is made perfect in weakness." Absolutely. You see how strong people are when they're weak. Absolutely. Physically weak, mentally weak. You know, you see how strong people's wills can be, you know, through Christ.
How did you end up in that world? Like, do you sort of wake up one morning and think this is the life for me, or was it just that introduction of like, come and work for me one night and you'll get double bubble and you'll get double money? It's just like, money's good and I'll do it again. Like, did you
double booble? I can't believe how much that's stuck, because people still say that. You owe me double bubble.
Because you said at one point that at some point in your sort of let's say wayward life, you were looking at a 7-year sentence hanging over your head, but that didn't happen overnight.
No,
did it?
That was like from the moment I met that guy. There was an 8-year process to the time we come into faith. However, I had already was already going down a bit of a wayward path from a young man, particularly when I started taking anabolic steroids. I started taking them at a very young age, and they can mess with your whole, not just your health, but your whole well-being and your balance and the way you think, your hormones. You know, I was injecting animal steroids into myself, Bob. That's how bad it was.
Steroids. Wow. Good scripture that, Derek. Here we go. 1 Samuel 2:8. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill. To set them among princes and make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them. Well said, Derek. Good scripture. Good scripture. Oh, why can't I get it off? Ah, there it is. Absolutely, bro.
Wow.
I was living above a veterinary surgery. I was breaking into the surgery.
You would say that. Double bubble was a girl with big boobs to me. Just I want to think of that.
The animal steroids reading 1 meal a week for a horse. And I was using like 5 meals a day on myself, like,
oh gosh,
like I'm banging this stuff in me. And so, yeah, it's not an immediate thing, but it's something that sucks you in, isn't it? When we do a lot of work.
Were you driven towards the steroids? Were you driven by what? Vanity? Was it like, was building muscle connected to some ambition for fame, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, or was it like?
Yeah, in a nutshell, you're right. So I felt from a young age empty inside, and I felt like I wanted to achieve something with my life. So it wasn't about vanity, it was about winning competitions. So back in Forest Gate, East London at that time, I actually, believe it or not, I trained with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger lived in Forest Gate. He actually lived above the gym where we were training. So yeah, so not a lot of people know that. And he came from Austria over to Forest Gate. He lived in a...
Hey Joe, good to see you, man. Good to see you, bro. What's that one you got there? What scripture is that again? J-O-G? J-O-G-N? Huh? What's that mean? Oh, John! Wow, I'm like, J-O-G? What? Oh, it's J-O-G. I'm thinking Old Testament.
I'm on mute saying it's John PJ. It's John.
Yeah, I'm thinking Old Testament. I'm like, which one is that? I haven't seen. And I'm thinking, it's a misspelling of an Old Testament one. And then I realized, John, it's just the H. It's because I haven't read the scripture yet. I'm just looking at the J bit. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them. He is that loveth me, and he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him and will manifest myself to him. Excellent. I wish I'd read the scripture, then I would have known it was John. I was just looking at what is that? What name is that? What book is that? Wow. Nice one, F-Doc. Brilliant, dude. Excellent scripture. Fantastic. Jogging.
Gym called Wag Bennett's Gym. And then he went off to the States. Wag got him out there and Joe Wheeler and all that stuff. So when I was a young man, he used to come back to Forest Gate quite regular, and he would stay over and he would spend time with Wag and his family. I used to have the odd workout with him because I was working in the gym as well. So, like working in the gym, I'm a proper gym rat back in them days, like. Yeah. And you've got to remember, back in these days, bodybuilding and powerlifting was a very small little world.
And the thing is about the gym as well, even when becoming a Christian, it still can be an idol. When I was in rehab, I mean, I wouldn't think I used it like an idol, but I could see where a lot of people could I didn't flex in mirrors and that. The only time I looked in the mirror, I was just to see if the people who were sitting there flexing that. The only time I looked in the mirror was when I was doing a set and that was going on my back and that, and I was facing the mirror. I didn't flex that from the mirror. I wasn't into that. But a lot of people who were and going, and I went to the gym 4 times a week whilst I was in rehab. And it was a very busy rehab, you know what I mean? Doing your educational stuff to do with the Bible and all that twice a day, going to church and all that as well, doing chapel twice a day, going to work in the afternoon, and I still managed to do the gym 4 times a week. So I could see how it could become an idol, especially everybody was in there. And like I knew, like sometimes I couldn't be bothered, and I can't be bothered, but no, I have to do this set and that. And I could see that like maybe sometimes you just need to rest, but I was like, no, I have to go even though I can't be bothered because I need to do this. So I could see how it would become an idol. Like my body was saying, just chill out for this day. You know what I mean? But I could see how it could become an idol, especially other people sitting there flexing the mirrors and stuff. So yeah, anything could become an idol. But people just think, these gods are idols and stuff like that. These false gods are idols. No, anything can go and be a car. You know what I mean? A motorbike, whatever, can become an idol. Money.
There was only about 4 or 5 gyms in London. It really wasn't like it is now, this social media stuff and all these youngsters. We were a real small little group. So Arnold wasn't really that famous outside that bodybuilding world. And then I remember he started releasing the films. And I remember him coming over one year, and my training partner at the time was a guy called James, and he invited me and James to the premiere of Conan the Barbarian. So I went with Wag Bennett.
I've just realised this is an hour and 48. I thought it was an hour and 15 or something. It's an hour and 48. So I'll probably do the first hour of it, then do the second part tomorrow. So don't think we'll get through the full lot.
Wife, James and myself, we went to see, and Arnold was already there when we got there. We went to see the premiere of Conan the Barbarian. Yeah, I mean, he won't remember me now, but that was, you know, but yeah, it was that kind of drive to think, oh, this guy's achieved all this. You know, what's stopping me from, you know, maybe one day living in California, one day having a, you know, some successful life in the bodybuilding world. So there was that, but that was driven by the emptiness.
John is one of their books of apocrypha. Is it jogging? Oh, wrong one. Does that? It flips up every time I try and put something on. So jogging is an apocrypha book. I like it.
And to be honest with you, when I found Christ, that just disappeared. It's like all that stuff, but it seems so important to me. All that world of door work and running around with these fellas, and particularly the bodybuilding, the drive for bodybuilding, the drive for competition. It just suddenly, as if my eyes were open to the foolishness of it all. And the eternal was much more significant, that Christ truly did die on that cross. He truly did rise again. We do have eternal life because of the resurrection. And when all that clicked, I thought, this is what's important now. You know, measuring my life now by achieving things on this earth is not comparable to walking this eternal life. So yes, it's not, you get sucked into it. And I understand why youngsters in gangs and in prisons and go down that path of needing to have that group of protection and brotherhood.
Terrible when that starts happening, Jay. I was gutted when my laptop started acting up. And now it's at Vicky. I don't know why it doesn't act up as much for her. When she goes live, it doesn't blank out like it did for me, where I have to turn it off, come back in again. You know what I mean? And you've been sitting watching blankness for 5 minutes.
Did you wipe it before you get it, Vicky?
No. I've kept my stuff on it because I still need to stream when I'm at house. So my stuff's still there on it. She's just got her own, she just uses her own stuff. But no, I didn't wipe it at all, no. Because I was going to do that, and then I realised, no, when I'm there, I'm going to have to use it, aren't I? So I might as well keep my stuff on it. And she doesn't use it much anyway. She just uses it to come into StreamYard for these panels now and again, or to do her own stream, which she's only going to be doing one a month of, you know what I mean? She's not going to be prolific with streaming. And she does a little videos like she did yesterday. She did a short and a little video because I think
they this morning, hasn't she?
She put one out this morning.
Sure, no. She has, yeah. I haven't watched it.
No, that was probably a shot from yesterday. She put them out yesterday. I actually put one out this morning because she's broke her arm.
It says 1 hour ago, watching The Garden Residence. Well, yesterday.
Oh yeah, is it a squirrel?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was yesterday. That was,
I'll screenshot my notification.
Oh, that's weird. That was yesterday, man.
Send it in WhatsApp.
Okay. Oh, so it does. No way, man. Yeah, no, that was yesterday.
Stupid YouTube.
I can't see her sitting there looking at the squirrels. Was her arms aching like that?
That's what I thought when I seen it. Like I thought she got a bad arm.
Sitting there capturing the squirrels that way by that, flinging her arm at it, like swinging her body to get her arm to hit the button. Yeah, no. I'm sure she's on her way to hospital because she hasn't contacted me.
How long does it take to get there?
Well, Northampton's about, say, Northampton? Yeah, Northampton. Is it Northampton or Nottingham? Northampton. Sorry. I get mixed up between Nottingham and Northampton. It's about 14 mile away from Daventry. You know what I mean? So that's our closest hospitals. It's either here, which is 20 mile away, or which is the better hospital is here, or Northampton, which is 12 mile away, 14 mile away, something like that. It's ridiculous. So it's got to cost her that 30 quid I've got in my account to get a taxi. It might even come over that. She might have to say, look, who are you? You know what I mean? I don't know. Not sure. Because I can't see her trying to get a bus back, not with a sore arm. But I don't know if she'll be kept in because of the swelling. It depends whether it's broken, just dislocated or what. But if it's broken, they're not going to fix it with the swelling there. You know, they'll have to wait for the swelling to go down. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't worry about that, Derek. I don't think that you meant it that way, to be honest, from what I'm reading.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Good and stuff like that.
Was it the life of crime developed incrementally? Like you got in a couple of fist fights, and then it developed into something more serious, and then more serious and more serious. Like, are you able to tell me what is that how it happened, or?
Yes, I mean it definitely, particularly working in the clubs and the bars and the raves. Back in the 80s, they had all these illegal raves and stuff going on. They've written films about some of these characters that I've worked with, some of them, The Rise of the Foot Soldier and all that, which are very popular films in prisons. I've worked with some of these guys. In fact,
I've seen Rise of the Foot Soldier 2. I haven't seen the first one, but people keep telling me they're brilliant. But when I watched 2, it just reminds me of a cheap British film 4 movie. I'm not into them. I liked Football Factory and all that, I suppose, but I'm not into hooliganism. It was just a decent enough movie, But when it comes to that Rise of the Foot Soldiers, I thought they were really crap.
I like it, mate.
Yeah, I knew you were going to see it. I knew you were going to see you liked it. I kind of knew that. But I've only seen the second one, and I found it a little bit too cheesy. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I suppose, Michael, it's just never been my type of film, to be honest.
The training, a lot of us used to train together as well, so there was that kind of a camaraderie. But there's so much to the ingredients that makes why you get sucked into that lifestyle. Everything from feeling that you need that protection, that group, and that identity, and you want to be one of the guys. You don't just want to be one of the guys. You want to be seen and respected by the other guys and your peers. And
I imagine all right as well.
Well, yes, there was some good money, particularly in the rave type of things. The door I remember just working basically on the nightclub doors. I don't know what they get paid anymore, but back in those days, I was do a couple of shifts. I'm getting as much as someone working for BT or something. It's like door work paid really heavily well back in those days because it was dangerous, and it was a niche group, and it wasn't like you went for job interviews, and there was no licenses on their arms, and there was no regulative. You didn't just have.
That still looks strange to me, seeing bouncers with all this stuff on their arm, their badges and uniforms and that. I'm used to bouncers wearing a white shirt, and a pair of trousers.
Have you ever heard at Niche in Sheffield?
No.
Oh, mate, bouncers there, they wear balaclavas, mate.
Really?
Honestly, yeah. There's been shootings in all sorts, but it's a really sketchy place to go.
Right. I understand though. I suppose as well, if it's especially being a sketchy place, they won't want people that come to them places knowing who they are.
Also too, though, they're like MTF like you back,
really?
They're right bad, like.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to a place like that.
Dodgy.
Woman on McDonald's and stuff. There was just certain places that really need bouncers, and I got sucked into that. And so did many things I'm not proud of.
Are you able to tell us about the day that you were in the car, that you were surrounded by weapons and steroids with a 7-year sentence? Why were you looking at a 7-year stint?
I've been involved in an offence called that I got charged with violence and disorder. So violence and disorder, you might have heard about a little bit in the news recently with some of the arrests that have been going on. They in rioting. So violence and disorder comes under that Rioting Act. So you got violence and disorder, you got a fray, which would be underneath that, and obviously rioting. So there's like 3 or 4 charges within that bracket. So it doesn't have to mean that they've actually seen you do something, but you was just with the group that did something that was quite damaging. And so and we all got nicked because someone got hurt and blamed us. It was a bit of a hell of a night, and it was one of the times that I probably hadn't actually. I did very little except for throw the fella out of the club. But the police, someone down the road had got literally lost his life through an incident with some doormen at a club just not far from where I was at, and so they come on us heavy and they nicked us all because this guy did get hurt, but not particularly by us. And so we all got nicked. But it was just another night, but it ended up rolling on for like the best part of 2 years. So in the process of that happening, so the process
that's the thing about these bigger cases. Like cases that are like manslaughters and murders, and even like violence is below the manslaughter. There's violence like GBH, like you get section 18s and section 20s, which is woundings or malicious woundings sort of things. Difference between section 18s and section 20s. Though called different things in America and that, and sometimes they're different between UK and Scotland. But they take a long time to go through court, especially if you're not, even if you're in prison and remand waiting for it. Like it took me 6 months to go up for the manslaughter, but that was quite quick because I got the manslaughter dropped as a plea bargain if I pleaded guilty to supply of a class A. But usually, especially for murder, you'd be in jail 2 years before even going up for trial. You'll definitely, if you're up for murder, you'll do all your little court cases saying, yeah, putting these things back and all that, and what your pleas and all that kind of stuff. But to go to trial, it'll take at least 2 years, to start trial, even if you're in prison. So even if you're charged with murder in the UK, even if it's not you and you're remanded for it and you get denied all your bail pleas, you get 2 bail applications, then a QC application, which is Queen's Counsel, which is higher than a barrister. And they go to the judge and ask for you. If they say no, then you're not getting bail at all. Definitely not. That's it. You have to do 2 years, even if you're innocent. So even if you get found not guilty after that 2 years, you'll get compensated, I suppose, but you've still lost 2 years of your life, It'd be good if these things could be quicker, just in case someone isn't guilty, But it's just the way of things.
Coming to court, I become a Christian. I remember as a Christian, just like, Lord, how do I deal with this? I've got to stand in the dock. I didn't hit anyone that night, but yet I deserve many sentences. Like I've got away with so much. How do I deal with all this? So I'm just throwing it at God and crying out for mercy. We ended up, it was 4 or 5 of us went to Crown Court at that time, and literally, there was so much nonsense that had been put together in the statements on their behalf that after 3 or 4 or 5 days of listening to the police and their witnesses, the judge had had enough and threw it all out. Made me understand and see actually as well that you think to yourself that the police are going to be there for you. They want to prove who's guilty or innocent. I realised this. At that point, actually, that's not the case. A bit naive I must have been. I've been nicked many times, and we always had the same thing: no comment. But when it actually, when the rubber hit the road, as it were, and I'm sitting there thinking, shouldn't they investigate and prove that we're innocent? Why are they pushing us like this? But they were on one. They wanted to see us locked away for a long time because mostly of what happened by the doorman up the road with this other guy. And so they were really pressing it to push us. And so we'd been told to expect a 7-year custodial sentence, and we was told to expect that by our barristers.
But your barrister will always tell you the worst. They will always tell you the worst. They say, expect the best. You know what I mean? Expect the best. No, expect the worst and hope for the best. You know what I mean? That's all you can do. But the barrister will tell you the worst. 7 years sounds about right for what he's saying, at the worst. But in general, people can get 2 years to 3 years, It's good to expect the worst, I suppose, when you're in that situation. Get used to the idea just in case.
Wow, right.
Yeah. So that's why I say we had a 7-year prison sentence hanging overhead. That's why we, like if you judge something in a magistrate's court, the sentences are going to be smaller, as you probably know. But if the police want to take it all the way to the Crown Courts, they could give us a hefty sentence. And so, so it was a real, it was a time of praising God. I was still a young man. I was thankful I didn't go to prison. It all got thrown out, and I decided.
Did you end up joining your friend who got healed at Kensington Temple?
Yep.
Did he sort of continue in the faith? Did he also become?
Question. Yeah, he's written a book about this. His name's Ez Catel. He's written a book called "I'm Asking You Nicely," and it's all about his healing and how the fight and his life. He was running a firm and stuff back in those days. So you can read his story. He's a minister of the gospel. He helps, particularly he works with God.
I take it you guys, they'll know what a farm is. I think a farm is more of like people, like a bunch of hooligans that go to like, that's what they call a farm. A bunch of hooligans that get together, they go, they meet each other, and
Football
they get a
farm.
farm. Football farm, yeah. They meet each other to arrange fights with other teams and stuff like that. And that's what farms are. And they actually arrange to fight each other. And
I
stuff.
used to, one of the guys I worked with when I went to council, he used to go at Rotherham Firm and
Really?
they've got phone arranging fights and that. Like,
Aye, that's what I'm saying. It's like an official thing, arranging fights, but obviously it's illegal. But it's an official thing.
you wouldn't have thought he were a fighter either to look at him. Like,
oh, some of them you don't. They just look. Some people love it just because they love fighting, they love beating people up. Some people love taking beatings and like yes, and get beaten themselves and to do the beating. They love it, getting hit in that. I'm like, dude, I mean, if I've got to fight, I'll fight. I don't like getting hit. You know what I mean? Yes, I've been there quite a few times, and I'll fight back if I have to. But to like it,
we once were, me and mates were out drinking around Sheffield once, and football were on, and I think it was Blackpool were playing Sheffield Wednesday or Sheffield, I can't remember which. And we were in this pub, like, and this kid comes on, he says, "Look, we're at Sheffield Firm. You better get out of here, like, because my mates think that you're Blackpool fans, like." And we weren't, like, we were just out on Lashlight, but
wow.
to get out of there quick, like.
Too right, man. Now what you got to do? You know what I mean? Especially if you've got a fan there, and you're like, there's nothing you can do against it. Especially if you ain't got a fan behind you. Good to see you, KB, man. Good to see you, bro.
Guys on the streets wouldn't normally come to a church, so he works that runs sort of a particular event in Essex on a Saturday, and he does other bits and pieces and works with churches and stuff. And I also got it in a book that's about my life, and a guy called Arthur White, who's part of Tough Talk. We bought a book about 20 years ago called it's just called Tough Talk. We haven't got that much imagination. We just kept every Tough Talk. It's easy, you know, like back in the day, we were going into prisons and places.
Let's call it a talk show. Well, that sounds a bit effeminate. Let's call it Tough Talk.
Tough Talk. But the funny thing was, back in those days, it was kind of, I was doing like lot boxing demonstrations and powerlifting things, and we were getting in the gyms in prisons and doing these. And so everyone was saying like, let's call it, the Power Team and all this sort of stuff. Like there's a big group out in America, or Team Extreme or something. And a church called it Tough Talk one night. I did a church in North London, and the pastor there, it was some sort of.
I was hoping he was going to say Ilford. I was hoping he was going to say City Gates, and it might have been the night I was there or whatever.
Charismatic pastor, a big poster with Tough Talk, coming here, true life stories. And I just remember looking and thinking, that's not a bad name. And so we started calling it Tough Talk. And actually do more talking than weights or anything like that anymore. You know, I do still go down the gym, but I seldom do a demonstration. I'm nearly 60 years old, so I really don't want to be squatting too heavy. But for years, we were using the weights, and we still do them. I mean, there's a couple of guys in the team. One you met, Joe Lamshire, British powerlifting European champion, Arthur White, world powerlifting champion.
2 seconds, guys. That's Vicky calling.
Very strong guys, but it's actually to me, it's about the gospel. I think the gospel is a tough message. I believe it's an uncomfortable message for many. I believe that
I'll come on to the work of Tough Talk and the work of and the gospel message. I just want to focus in on like once you became a Christian, did you start going to the Elim church that you were visiting, or did you end up going to Kensington Temple? How did it start? How quickly after becoming a Christian was it before you set up your charity?
That's what that church is called. That I'm talking about going to Elim. Interesting.
I became a Christian around 1992. So we started the ministry in 94, 95. It was really when it really started.
Right. So Vicky's just got, oh, wow, 2 seconds. She's calling again.
And informed the charity as a registered charity a couple of years later. So there was a 2 or 3 year period between becoming.
She must have been calling by mistake because she's hung up. She's just got to A&E, the ambulance driver. So she's waiting to be seen. The ambulance driver gave her Oromorph, which is liquid morphine, not the best morphine, but liquid morphine and some gas in there. So she's sitting waiting at the minute. She'll let me know. I dare say she'll have to go for X-ray first. I don't know. let you know if she calls while I'm still on. I'll let you guys know. Nice.
Being a Christian and actually going into prisons and getting on the road and doing stuff.
Why were you drawn to prisons? Yeah.
Well, I wasn't actually. I just got Tough Talk is. We get invited places, and so where I get an invite, I go. So I just prayed about it and said, you know, Lord, wherever you want me to go. We got asked to go and speak at a church back in the.
Oh, by the way, A&E stands for Accidents and Emergencies. Forgot because you don't have that over. It's just it's the emergency room where you're at, isn't it?
Is she there then?
Yeah, she's there. She's there. The ambulance took her there. The ambulance driver gave her some Oromorph, and some gas in the air. Oromorph is just liquid morphine. It's not brilliant. It tastes like blueberries, but thick, clear liquid. It's not nice, but it's a painkiller. You know what I mean? It is morphine, but it's morphine sulfate, so it's just the same as having a codeine, I suppose. Really. Yeah, so she's just an accident and emergency, getting waiting to see. Now it's there, so she'll go for X-ray first. So if she does call during, well, this is still on. I'll let you guys know.
All right. I'll check my dinner.
She broke a wing. She broke a wing. She was getting dressed and she fell over. Not while she was getting dressed, but while she was getting dressed, but not pulling her trousers on or anything. She was getting dressed and she ran to get something and tripped over and put her right hand down and just it's gone from the elbow down. I think it's dislocated, but it's swollen up. But she might have broke the hinge. I don't know the joint because she can't move it at all. She can move the fingers and that, but they're swollen. But she can feel it up by her elbow when you move the fingers. So it just might be the tightness, or it could be feeling her tendon rubbing against the bone. I don't know. So we'll find out if it's broken or if it's dislocated or what. But it's really swollen up. Definitely. I showed a picture. I showed a pic earlier on of it, and someone thought it was a knee. JP maybe thought it was a knee, or someone thought it was a knee, and it wasn't. It was an elbow. It's definitely swollen. But yeah, I'll let you guys know if she lets me know.
Those days we'd turn up like 8 guys, mob-handed. We'd scare the life out of most congregations, to be honest with you. And while I was there, I was asked to go to HMP High Point on a Sunday. Would I come and do a service on a Sunday morning? I was like, yeah, okay, go and do a prison. And that kind of clicked when I was there. I realized I really understood these guys. And it's taken me around the world, to be honest with you. Tough Talk, we've done prisons from Russia, Ukraine, all the way across the Eastern.
Thanks, I'll let her know. Bless you, man.
Europe, Spain, France, out in Asia, places like India, been out to prisons in Philippines, done prisons in the US, done prisons in Canada, done prisons in Hong Kong, been all across Channel Islands, Great Britain. So I've seen some hellholes in my journey of preaching the gospel in prisons around the world. So it's not just the UK prisons I've been in, but I do understand, and I understand that you can stand in front of take it how I mean it in sincerely, that you can stand in front of a church congregation and they can just be a little bit gullible. You could literally almost say anything to them, they're going to probably believe you. But when you stand in front of a few fellas in a prison, when you stand in front of a bunch of prisoners, they see through you if you don't truly believe what you're saying. So when I'm saying I'm talking about the gospel, I've got to really believe it. They see through you, if you know what I mean. And I get that. I get where they're coming from, and I believe that out of everything we do as a ministry, the prison work is one that I enjoy the most. I mean, I'm in a prison this Sunday taking chapel service, and I've been doing it for many, many years. And all the time, the doors open up and the invitations come, we go. So that's it's good for me, I enjoy
so when you set it up, you weren't initially thinking to go into prisons. What were you thinking? It was just a case of, Lord, send me wherever, or did you have a vision of what you were hoping to do? Like what was the thing that triggered you to even set up any organization at all? Why did you think to set up?
Well, I sat in church and thought, what do? I'm not going to be a pastor. I realized that, it's just not going to be me. Worship leader, I can't sing, I can't dance, I'm not, all that kind of stuff. And to answer one of your other questions, I started to go to a church in Ilford, which is just outside of East London, which is really East London. And it was an Elim church. It's now called City Gates. And
there you go. That's the church I went to. That's how I know them. That's how. So it must have been City Gates. I seen them. That's where I got baptized. The church he's on about. I knew he was going to say it. As soon as he said Ilford and he said Elim Church, it's very charismatic though, very charismatic. That's what
That's what that church is. I'm on about going to Elim.
Yeah, Elim. Yeah.
I know it's Pentecostal, right?
Yeah, they are Pentecostal. You're not going. It's hard to escape that nowadays. It's very hard in some way or another. Not everybody in the church believes that, but they.
I've heard them preaching in town centre. Like.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's hard to escape the tongues. It's hard to escape some people falling down and stuff. But yeah, that's why I got baptized anyway in 2004. So as soon as he said, I knew it. I kind of felt it as soon as he said Ilford. And I said it earlier, didn't I? I says I was hoping he said City Gates, but he didn't at that point. It was another church he said. But when he said, so it must have been at the church I've seen them. But yeah, the Teen Challenge I was at, that's the church that they go to all the time. And yeah, we're over on one side, so we kind of got classed as a special lot. We always get shouted out there, because the pastor of the church at the time, he was called Steve Derbyshire. He was the first ever registered drug addict in the UK. First ever registered drug addict in the UK, and he used to go and check. He used to go and find needles in behind hospitals because back in his day you couldn't get needles now. So he was using used needles and stuff. He contracted hep C, other things and all that. But he ended up getting saved, become a pastor. So because of his past and where we were coming from the rehab, we were kind of special to him. You know what I mean? So I think that's how we know. That's how I know now. That's how I know of Tough Talk. It's through that church. So it's the church. It's a church. I mean, I went to church before that, but that's the first church I went to after truly knowing I was saved or truly giving my life in meaning it. I believed in God before that, and I'd been to church before that. But I hadn't given my life, not to that point, not knowing that I needed to. So yeah, I kind of knew you were going to say it. I kind of knew it. But yeah, that's the church I went to, City Gates in London, in Ilford.
Just remember seeing what does a bloke like me do, But I knew
the pastor was lovely. Steve Derbyshire was brilliant. I dare say he's not there anymore. I mean, he could be. He was in his 50s then. He could still be in his 70s doing it. He could still be, but most people pass it on, so I dare say it'll be somebody else now. But it'd be cool if you mentioned Steve Derbyshire. But people don't usually mention names.
That the gospel had to be preached, and I started to read the scriptures. The Bible says, "Renew your mind with the word of God." I started to realize that my mind was being renewed.
This guy wasn't an addict. No. The church he went to, I'm talking about the pastor of that church he went to, and the church I went to, when I first became properly saved, and when I was baptized at. The pastor was a drug addict, not this guy here. He was an ex kind of hooligan, bouncer, tough guy, used to get into fights, crime, stuff like that. He did steroids when he was weightlifting and all that.
And my thinking and my thought process is as if something's just suddenly clicked in my head. I just suddenly started to have some sort of critical reasoning and just looked at the world in a different way, and
yes, yeah, registered drug addicts, yeah. Absolutely. Registered as in because when you go to your doctors and tell them you're a drug addict, they used to give you something, but now they pass you on to organizations. But yeah, first ever, I don't know if you'd say a registered drug addict. I suppose it'd be, drug addicts were registered, I suppose, in that kind of way. Hey, good to see you, David, by now.
Yeah, they get clean needles for good term and stuff like that, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he was the first ever drug addict in the UK to be put on the system, I suppose. I don't know if you would class it as registered, but that's what I would say, registered. I'm sure that's how it was put. I would say it's registered. Yeah. Good to see you, Dave. Nice one for coming. Can't believe you haven't got a spanner already, but it must be your first time here, Mr. Banner.
They have to be registered, don't they, to get their help and stuff?
Yeah, of course. So they're definitely registered. Yeah, I suppose I'd be a registered drug addict as well. Bless you, dude. Bless you. Nice one for coming, man.
The more I read the scriptures, the more it just excited me. I'm reading the book of Acts. I thought, man, I haven't got time to go and get ordained. I need to get out and start sharing the gospel. So
I need to do something now.
I need to do now. Yeah. And so I actually really started just talking with the guys on the door, really, and chatting with the fellas I was working with. And I'd get a turn up. Some of them might be, hallelujah, brother, I've seen the light.
Luke, good to see you, bro. Good to see you, man. No, it was Luke. Yeah, you were there this morning. Yeah, it wasn't because of sleep that I didn't come. It was because Vicky broke her arm. So I think I just didn't want to say so in chat, earlier on. So I just came up with the first excuse that I usually do is, which because I sleep. But I didn't know if she wanted the guys to know. But she's in A&E at the minute. She's broke her arm. I think she broke her arm. She can't move it. It's really sore. She fell over and tried to support herself. And I think she's actually dislocated it from the elbow or broke the elbow joint. I don't know, but it's swollen up as well. She's waiting to get. She's gone in the ambulance now, and she's took them nearly 6 hours to get her, and now she's waiting in A&E, which is accidents and emergency. So yeah. So that's the only reason why I didn't come on earlier, sort of thing. I just didn't want to elaborate. I just said like asleep, I'll be on in the afternoon, sort of thing. But yeah, it's because of that. She was on earlier before she went in the ambulance, but she's actually been in the ambulance and she's there now waiting to be seen. Good to see you, bro.
I thought, well, I'll be spat at, shot at, kicked about. I'm sure if a couple of people want to have a laugh at me because I'm a Christian, that's fine. So it was just really talking about my story and talking about the gospel, and then it just happened.
Banner's got Spanner. Hey, listen, I dare not give Banner a spanner. If he gets angry, you know what happens, don't you? Go and give him a spanner. No, Dave, I give all the cool guys a spanner. Yeah, I just like everybody in blue. Just show your arm, just in case there is trolls. We don't get any, but just in case there is. We've had a couple, but Vicky deals with them in general. But it's just in case, and so everybody's equal. I give all the guys a spanner.
And the invitations started to come, and it happened that we were a group that were praying together and went out together. So
Me too.
I'd love to say I had this incredible vision, but it wasn't the case. It just
organically grew.
Organically grew. And I believe by the Holy Spirit just leading and opening up doors and just things happening. I mean, you still got to go. You still got. I mean, I still.
And that coincidence just got back from Dave Banner. Just got back from the hospital. Nice, bro.
I've got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and drive up to Sunderland or somewhere and work with a church up there, or do some. We do a lot of homeless shelters and drug rehab.
I've got to go on Friday.
Oh, for goodness sake.
I'm a dermatologist on Friday.
Oh, what's that for? Is that for your feet?
Yeah, they're better now.
Oh, nice.
But I've still got an appointment.
Yeah, of course. Get them checked up and that too, right?
I see what happened was, they were treating me for eczema on my feet, and it was athlete's foot. So I'd gone 2 years treating my feet with eczema creams when it was athlete's foot. So they were like, it was hard to control. I could keep my hands off them. It was horrible.
I know. I remember when I was there. I remember seeing you scratching him. I remember seeing you.
Yeah, 2 years, mate. 2 years.
Yeah. Definitely. And I know what it's like with itchy feet because I've got dermatitis. It's mainly in my head, and sometimes it spreads to my face.
I get eczema and that all over my body as well.
Yeah. So sometimes you'll see me with a blotchy face. Sometimes, you know what I mean. But yeah, mainly my head. But it stays in control now and again. But I do get like itchy soles on my feet. But I remember when I was on heroin, that makes you itchy. Any opiate makes you itchy. I used to scratch the hell out of my feet till I was bleeding.
They told me I was stripping skin off my toes.
Of course. And you can't
having dreams of just getting a wire brush and getting them a right good.
Right. Absolutely. And it doesn't get rid of the itch, and it cools. It's like it's only relieves it while you're doing it. And that's the problem. That's the problem.
How about you?
There's another big one I do. I do a lot of drug rehabs. I was
going to ask you about the scope of the work that you do. So it's prisons, drug rehabs. What are the kind of things do you go to? Homeless shelters?
So it would have been because I was in drug rehab teen challenge at church. So he could have come to the church or the rehab, either or. But I dare say it would have been the church. Bigger.
Yeah, we do a lot of homeless shelters. I've worked with London City Mission, all sorts of places like that. Do a lot of Church of England homeless. Some fantastic churches out there that run homeless shelters and drug courses and alpha groups that work with these kind of guys, alpha in prison, all sorts of stuff. It's very big. So yeah, I will do as a ministry, as a group, and there's only about 4 or 5 of us really nowadays. But we do men's breakfast, we do men's conferences, we do prisons, we do schools, we do drug rehabs. The Navy is a big one. We do. I work with down at HMS Rayleigh, taking chapel there about 4 times a year. So it's a training place down there for the Navy. So you've got the guys coming in, and that's like a 12-week program. And so we usually go in every sort of 13 or 14 weeks and speak to another whole new group of recruits all in there. So we get an hour with like 700-800 fellas in guys in the Navy. Share our story, preach the gospel, and what a privilege. And so sometimes I can't believe the opportunities I've had. I've stood in front of Manchester City Stadium preaching the gospel in front of 30,000 people, to stand in front of a little youth group with a few little kids down in East London,
preaching the gospel just as hard.
Just the same. Well, you know what it is. It doesn't matter, does it? You're serving him, aren't you? So it doesn't matter to me if it's a big group or just a couple of kids. Every opportunity is appreciated. You never know it's going to be your last, do you? You never know, do you?
No, this is true. And is it a case that Tough Talk it just does a gospel preach, or do you talk more about discipleship or being a Christian man? Like, what is it? What message do you go in and take, or do you cater it and change it to the groups that you're talking to, and say different things to different groups?
Yeah, over the years, Bob, we definitely have grown and got a little bit more wise in what we have to share and what we do. So there'll be some places.
Mr. Gasshead, good to see you. Mr. Sandro, good to see you. Good, thanks for coming, guys.
Establishments like there's a drug rehab called Teen Challenge. It's a residential drug rehab.
He said it. Teen Challenge. That's definitely how we're doing it. Yeah, Teen Challenge. Yeah, that's it. That's the place I was at. So yeah, that's how I know him. See, when I first seen him, I was like, I knew Tough Talk, but I was trying to remember where from. And then I remembered they're from London and stuff like that. It had to be Teen Challenge. And he's mentioned them both, the church I was at and Teen Challenge. So he has a lot to do with Teen Challenge. So there it is. That's how I know the guy. I know the ministry. Yeah. So I have met him. Yeah.
And I work and take chapel service regular there. And they've got like 30 odd residential guys that will be doing an 18-month program. So I will go 18
months, that's how long I was there.
I'll be preaching on something. I'll share something. But
the London, when I was there in London, where he's on about like 30 people there, when I was there, you could only get 15, but it's growing there now. And you only did 6 months of the program there, then went to Wales. But now it's bigger. They've got a bigger building. It's still the same building, but it's bigger. They've added on to it. They've got more guys. They do the full program there. But when I was there, it was just, so I was just in London 6 months and then went to Wales for a year. So I did the full 18 months, like you said. You can't just do a year. I did full 18 months sort of thing. But yeah. So yeah, it's definitely that for I know him from.
Something I know is going to.
Yeah.
1 minute. Adam from Here I Am Lord sent me, asked me to share a video. Am I right to post it in the chat?
Absolutely. Feel right. Of course you are. Don't need to ask, dude. Go for it. Adam from Here I Am Lord. Brilliant, man. Everybody go watch that, man. Oh, he's live. He's live. Live now.
He's live now?
Yeah, he's going. Oh. Is that alive? Oh no, it's not. It's not. It just said it's from alive. It was live at one point. Right. It's just because it says live in it. I thought it was that.
I've been watching it this morning. It's
got you. Right, cool. Yeah, go watch that, guys. After this, obviously. But I've only got another, say, 12-ish minutes, and then we'll do the second part tomorrow. So I'll probably have a look at that as well this afternoon while I'm waiting for Vicky call, see if she's arms all bandaged up, or if she's had an X-ray, or whether it's broken, or just it dislocated or what. But I mean, we're heavy people. I dare say she could have damaged it,
Yeah.
I did 18 months. Yeah, I did 18 months.
It looks broke to me.
It does look broke. It does either that or dislocated from the elbow. Yeah, it does look sore. Yes, I did 18 months. I did 18 months. 2003 to 2005. I was in from October 2003 to April 2005. So about best part of 18 months, I think. Something like that.
Hulk.
Yeah, from 2003 to late 2003 to just before mid 2005. Yeah, 18 months. It's hard. It's hard because you're sick. But once you get used to it, and then once I got fit, I was running. And once I got my freedom as well, you know what I mean, I was running around the village when I was in Wales. In London, I didn't have so much freedom, even though in London I had more freedom than most because me and the manager kind of got on. So when we was doing jobs, I got to stay out late with them doing like shop jobs, fitting floors and stuff like that, and do all the late jobs with them. So I got more freedom than most in that. Not to go out on my own, but to go out in jobs and stuff like that. I could be bothered to do it. Other people could be bothered to do it anyway. I wanted to. You know what I mean? I just wanted to get better. I'd been on drugs for years and years. I'd been skinny for a long time. So I built myself up. You know what I mean? I was in the gym a lot and I looked well and I felt well. So I just wanted to continue that. And then by the end of it, I ended up I didn't finish the school because after the 18 months, I went to the school of ministry. They've got a further part in Wales where it's called the School of Ministry. It's part of Teen Challenge, but it's called School of Ministry. And that's when you go on your missionary work and all that. And I did 3 months of that during the ending. But I didn't complete that because in the end, I just didn't get on with the teacher. And I ended up in a relationship when I wasn't allowed to be in a relationship. So I kind of put the relationship first. So I completed the program and I got my certificates and everything, but they wouldn't graduate me because I got into a relationship. And now, if you go now, you're allowed to get in a relationship later on, but it has to be chaperoned and monitored. Because the problem was with Teen Challenge, they weren't allowed to get in relationships, and people were. Because the women centre was a mile, but it was in the same village, weren't allowed to see them. But when you got your freedom, you couldn't help but bump into them. So that was going to happen, you know, even though it was one of the rules. So they had to allow it at some point. But yeah, they didn't let me graduate, but I got my certificates and stuff, and I completed it, you know. But I didn't get my graduation certificate, that's all. But yeah, again, that must be how I know.
Relate with them particularly and encourage them on that very difficult work of rehabilitation and getting off the drugs and turning their lives around. And so that will be totally different every time I.
You know these guys by now. You're kind of like London way, ain't you? You've got that type of accent. This is Tough Talk. They're from Essex, kind of. Well, he's from Essex anyway. Like I say, Ilford, where he went to church in Ilford, Elim Church, City Gates Elim Church in Ilford. I lived in Ilford when I was in rehab. That's how I got to. That's how I know of these guys. I'm just wondering if you've ever heard of them because it's your type of way, and you've got that kind of accent. Don't know where you're from. If you're north, south, west, whatever.
Speak predominantly if I'm doing a prison, I might be in a gym doing a gym type seminar, talking a lot about steroids. The gyms like us because we talk a lot about the problems of steroids, the dangers of steroids. We will then share.
Hey, Gematria, good to see you. Good to see you.
Our story and share the gospel. They stomach us doing that because they know that the message the guys, the gym staff want is the message of the drugs and all that stuff. So they'll let us do the rest of it, and they quite enjoy it. We've got some good relationships over the years with the guys, and but I wouldn't go in there if it wasn't to lead people to Christ. That's the purpose. So predominantly it will be some type of testimony with the gospel. I don't see the point really in just sharing my story if you can't share Christ crucified. What Paul says, I told me to know nothing while I was with you except for Christ and him crucified. So if it's not about that and leading someone to that, I remember being in New York once, and we was doing some schools out in New York, and they were told us we couldn't share the name Jesus, and we had a big debate and a big, and then we were not sure, should we go and should we not? And we just done Rikers Island prison, which is like 22,000 prisoners in one prison system in a big island off of New York, massive. And so they were thinking, well, we could just call it a day. And then we noticed that we were going to do some like bench press for the kids, like have a bit of fun with them. And we had on our squat stands, Christ is King or something like that, And so I said, well, look, if nothing, they said we could mention God.
You lived in Ilford, did you, Jeff? No, I was in Ilford for 6 months. Like I say, in rehab, Teen Challenge rehab. And I went to City Gates in Ilford Church. The church is called Elim Church, City Gates, it's called. Near the cinema, crossroads from the cinema and that. I know there's got to be a few cinemas but I'm just saying, yeah. This is down, yeah. It wasn't far off Ilford Road itself, the big long road that takes you all the way to Barking. You know what I mean? All the way to Barking. But it's 20 years since I was there. I don't know much about it now. You know what I mean? I wanted to play Taboo Conspiracy's laser test as well. What I might do is I'll stop that there because I just wanted to quickly play it. So that's how far in am I. Do the second half of this tomorrow, 38 in. So cool, there's more than half of it to go. 38 minutes, right. I'll remove that one now. And I'm going to play the 8 minutes of Taboo Conspiracy, that laser demonstration, observation that Katie took out yesterday. Ilford Lane, yeah, that's the one, not Ilford Road. Ilford Lane, yeah. So I wasn't far off that. I mean, I can't remember the name of the street I was in. Can't remember the name of the street. It was near a street called Roman Road. I know that anyway. But it was not far. It was not far from Barking Park. It was actually closer to Barking than Ilford, but it was classed as Ilford. And it wasn't far from Barking Park, but I can't exactly remember the name of the street. Actually, let me just quickly find it. 15 challenge, London still there. I better remember. As soon as I see it, I'll be like, that's it. It's Uphall Road, Wilkerson House, Uphall Road, IG1 2JJ. It's right on the very end of that road, Uphall Road in Ilford, but it's closer to Barking. There you go, Dave. That's why I was asking, because you had that type of accent, dude. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's where I lived. What I just said, Uphall Road. And like I say, it's closer to Barking. If you just go around the corner and you go down under the underpass, you come straight out to Barking subway station. Underground, not subway, whatever you want to call it. Underground. Barking station. Yeah. Like I say, close out there. In Barking Park and that. It actually was called the park close to it's called Barking Park, but it's the end of Ilford Lane, sort of thing. So yeah, I'll play the second part of that tomorrow, but I want to play the laser test from Taboo Conspiracy. Watch that quickly. You guys have probably seen it already. Most people are sub to Taboo Conspiracy, but just in case you guys are not, I will put this link in. I'm sure you are. This is Taboo Conspiracy, one of the bigger channels of Flat Earth, but he's been going since day dot with Flat Earth, hasn't he, Michael? Probably 2016 or something, 2015, 2016.
Yeah, he's been through some channels, hasn't he?
Oh, definitely. Loads of them.
Is this a new one or is it just an old upload though?
I don't know, it's probably an old upload, but I'll just put it on just because it came out yesterday. Are we on? Yeah, we're good. And I'm sure you'll probably be able to tell me we're seeing it.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, it's probably an older one.
I have another awesome flat Earth laser test to share with you today. This test comes again from Lee. And
it might be new.
Yeah, look, I think it's new.
Kootenai Flat Earth Researchers. They don't have a YouTube channel, but Lee has already shared several laser tests with us now. All of his tests have been fantastic, and I will have a link to the other tests in the description. A big thanks again to them for emailing me and sharing their work. This laser test was conducted again at Kootenai Lake in south central BC, located here. The test was at a distance of 28.6 miles.
That's when I saved it, was yesterday, Chilean. So yeah, I did watch a bit of it yesterday, and I thought, no, I'll watch it tomorrow with the guys. I mean, so I wasn't sure if it was a new one or an old one. I just seen probably just the first 10 seconds of it, and I thought, I'll watch this, and I thought, no, I'll watch it with the guys, sort of thing. So I didn't know if it was a new one or an old one, like Michael. But yeah.
Or 46 kilometers. At one point in the video, they bring the cameras down to just 6 inches off of the water. According to the globe model, with an observation height of 6 inches and a distance of 28.6 miles, 513 feet should be hidden behind the curvature of the Earth. The laser was at a height of approximately...
Don't blame me, Jeff Gar said, moved out of London because of stabbings, and we had to, absolutely, man, go where it's safer, especially when you've got children. Definitely. Always.
Approximately 27 feet, and so the laser should have been 486 feet below the horizon.
Wow.
If the globe were real.
It's a fair distance, at least. You know, we get loads of these observations as well, and they're still bloody denying it. I've never seen flat water before. Duffy. Him and his crusty bloody firmament.
Like the flat earth, all water curves. We're a monkey.
Oh, Egypt, man.
486 feet is huge and tall enough to hide this 486 foot tall building. That lake is definitely flat. Anyways, let's watch the video.
Down a bit. Boom.
Down a bit.
Can you keep it there?
To me, to you, to me, to you. I'll give you a link. I'll give you a link. Two seconds, dude. I'll be I'm finishing out. Well, I've still got this song to come as well. There's about 6 minutes left of this, and then I'll finish it off with a song. But yeah, so I won't be on much longer. But I'll pass you the link, dude, if you want to come in. Right. We've already been on like 2 hours. And I've got to wait for Vicky to call and that, so save being on here when that happens. But I'll let you know how she's getting on. Anyway. Pinnage. There it is. There it is, dude. Ah! Idiots!
3-mile double laser test, which was at the north end of the lake. This time we're measuring the south end of the lake. So this 28-mile laser test is again taking place on Kootenay Lake, and this time we're going from Pilot Bay to the south end of the lake to the railway trestles. So yeah, here we are. We're on the railway trestle, looking north to Simon up there. And yeah, and we walked about 2 miles in. I just measured it. We're about 27 feet above the water here.
Just doing a 28-mile Kootenay Lake test. Both cameras are currently set up. We have P1000, P900. Just under 5 feet off the water.
So with the camera at 5 feet and at 28.6 miles, accounting for the height of the laser, you're looking at 414 feet of missing curvature.
Okay. It's missing. Where did it go to? Could it be that there's no curve there? Surely not.
Too much good to look through this. I'm done.
Ooh, oh, 28 miles away. Even in daylight, look. You don't know where the McToon, you don't know where the McToon starts and Duffy begins.
I'm gonna go where I think it is and do some time lapse. Another difference.
See the other camera?
Oh, gotcha. We're getting some flashes, just very intermittent. Did you want to take a break and I'll lower the height and then I'll
Okay, yeah, I'll take a little bit of a break and you can lower the height.
All right. You can see we're lowering camera heights now. P1000 is say 31 inches. Yep, got it. That was all.
Hey, Chris, I've seen you try to get in there, but you just flashed in and flashed out again. I didn't do anything. I didn't get time to let you in. You just flashed and flashed off again. So you try again. Like I say, it won't be on much longer anyway. Oh, there he is. There you are, dude. How you doing, man?
Hi, together. I'm doing fine.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
Oh,
I appreciate it.
Your mic sounds a lot better. What's going on?
Yes, I'm on the laptop now, so.
Oh, that's right. Wow, so much clearer, dude. So much clearer.
But it's an old body, you know. I have it already for 8 years. This laptop, so yeah, it's an old one, but.
Got you.
Still doing his job, man.
So yeah, I'm not on. I've already been on 2 hours, dude. I did the test, first half of the test, and we have a guy from a ministry called Tough Talk. So I'll be doing second half tomorrow. I was just showing this Taboo Conspiracies, showing of a laser test. There's about 4 minutes left of it, and then I'll play out with a song. But you're good though.
Okay, so you're longer on now? Or
yeah, no, I'm just about to finish in about 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
10 minutes. You want to finish it? Okay. But no problem, Peachy. Just
You're good, though.
saw you and thought I came in.
Yeah, you can stay. You can still chill here. Don't worry, you can still be here.
Fine, yes.
That's right. Good to see you anyway. Good to see you. How's Chris? How's Mike? I haven't seen Mike for a little while.
I didn't call him, so.
Oh, you haven't called him. Okay.
But he's doing fine.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure, yes.
All right, bro.
Yes.
On the record too. Yep, got a blue. Getting it. Whatever you said, I wonder, it worked.
Exactly, Dave. Dave said, water cannot support itself, so how can there be curvature upon its surface? Exactly, dude. You know, exactly. Even with a mythical force called gravity, it still wouldn't work. It would still roll downhill upon itself. You know what I mean? If it could be held in some kind of curvature, so to speak, it would just collapse. You know, exactly. Unless in motion, like fluid dynamics. Exactly.
So how is your mind on this video picture? You think it's correct what they were doing?
Oh, this one. Oh, of course. Oh, I mean, this is just a laser observation. Yeah. I mean, this is just an 8-minute video I put on for Taboo Conspiracy to end off.
They just shouldn't call them experiments.
Well, yeah, it's an observation. It's an observation.
No, they're doing great jobs, you know, with tests like this. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely.
Nice. Thanks.
Yeah, nothing wrong with this observation at all.
Yeah, there it is.
That's 28.6 miles away, by the way, Chris.
Yeah, this is really fun. Could you tell me what it is in kilometer?
In kilometers, it'd be about what?
I don't know
I'd say about 34. Hold on, would it be? No. Sorry. I'm thinking the wrong thing. No, kilometers. 40 kilometers.
Yeah. I would have to look for it in the internet.
Yeah.
For my own just that I have it.
So there should be 480 feet curvature, behind curvature. There should be. Apparently.
Okay. Thanks, Pooch.
No problems.
And then
28 or something.
Green.
Oh, 28.6, Barry.
yeah, I think we can see it with naked eye, can't we, Dave?
I got it wrong because I was thinking in money. I was thinking dollars to pounds. I don't know why I was thinking that type of thing. That's why I said, about 34. I was thinking that way, but it's not. It's more like it's more than just less than double, isn't it? Sort of thing.
These are 45,185 kilometers. That's pretty far, yes. Now I have a picture, Yeah, it's really far.
45. There you go. 45 bars.
The binoculars like really bright when it hits. I'll try with my naked eyes, but my naked eyes aren't very good anymore.
Oh yeah. And you can see the reflection as well on the water.
Dave said yep, but I didn't see it. Yep. Got that one. Yep. Yep.
Tell me along, I kind of know where you are now. Yeah, there you go. You were going up there.
Not the easy
we
job.
got you.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem.
Lots.
We got you.
You're kind of going up and down more this time, right? Yep, there you are now. Yeah, now.
Nice.
Very much, yeah.
Perfect.
Nah. I want to see if I can see it on the actual phone.
Yep.
Nice camera.
I can see it naked eye.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Nice.
Yep, you can see it on the phone too.
Yep.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, they can't tell us there's any trick photography here. So
Let me just try them again.
there's the lake. You can see that's water. We're now 6 inches off the ground with the P900. 6 inches off the P1000. 6 inches off the ground with the P900.
So I don't know if you can see the laser there, but this is where we are, and we're firing down the lake. And that's where we're shooting at, and we're just nailing it. Yeah. So we're about 20. I gotta say 27. We measure with the tape measure, 27 feet plus 5. So we're about 32 feet off the water, and we're firing down there. I don't know if you can see the laser. There it is. But yeah, we're just nailing it. It's going really good. All right, Simon's down far in the water, and we'll shoot for a little bit more. And I got to get out of here because it's mosquito hell.
You can see that.
If you get a
It's all over the
scenario,
place.
amazing.
Keep getting to leave us a message.
6 inch.
So we did get it. Oh, there's some more green. There's
Yeah,
more
we
green.
got it on the phone
There you
too.
go. Lots
Yeah.
of green. I don't have it on my phone yet. Every time I go to do it, it's
I mean, the globe is so finished, This is really so hard proof of it, And
Of course. How can
that
they deny
something
it,
is
man?
wrong,
How can they deny it? What are they going to say? What, you've got flat patches all over the place? Like a football.
Yeah.
Like a leather football, slightly deflated. You know what I mean?
When you really
Got it on
just
the phone.
think a little about it, you must say, okay, we have to look what's wrong,
Of course.
But we
of
know
course.
it, It's
But
that
no,
we know.
they give you excuses and don't even try doing it themselves. You know?
Yeah,
Again.
of course.
Don't worry, because in December this will get rid of all these laser tests.
Of course, yeah. We won't need to be doing these anymore. We can just imagine how the sun spins around the Antarctica 24 hours a day, Crusty, we can have crusty firmaments and everything.
I got your message. Actually, perfect timing because a whole lot of bodies are going to be coming your way.
Yep.
there it was.
Yes, see.
There
Yep.
it goes.
Yep.
Green.
Fine, go ahead.
With the phone even.
Yeah.
There it is again.
Short challenge.
Firing the green laser from 28 miles away.
Absolutely, Taboo.
Yes.
Absolutely, bro.
Nice.
There we go. Is that
Yeah,
music?
good stop, Peter.
Yes.
The perfect stop, you mean. Nice.
Right. Okay. So yeah, nice one, guys. Being here. I was going to play out with Mr. Super Sidewinder, but look, there you go. Look, there's so many blimmin' observations out there that they can't deny it. You know, they can't deny it. But the final deception. Yeah, exactly, dude.
Okay.
Final nothing. Yeah, the final deception.
So you were discussing a lot of things today, or the
Sorry?
topic? Do you discuss the topic with what you discussed today?
Oh yeah, no, we was just discussing the testimony of a guy. We watched testimony before that. We've only done about first half of it. We've got the second half to do tomorrow. It was a guy from a ministry called Tough Talk. They're ex-London gangsters and things like that. Turned to Christ, and they go ministering to people in prison and drug rehabs and places like that. I've personally seen them back in 2004. Yeah, either 2003 or 2000.
Crazy tests, so
yeah. So the second part will be tomorrow, dude.
Nice picture.
But we'll play out with
normally I would be in,
yeah. Like, see, you're always welcome, dude. You're always welcome. But I'll play out with Mr. Super Sidewinder, and then I'm going to get on the phone to Vicky to make sure everything's all right. I'll let you guys know anyway, and flats later on, or whatever's happening.
Yeah, sure.
We'll play out with
it's nice to be in all the time, every time.
Absolutely.
PJ, yeah, let me know what's going off. Like, I'm going to drop out now because I need to go and check on my food.
Okay, bro. I will do. No problem. I'll WhatsApp you.
Let me know.
Nice one,
God
dude.
bless everybody.
Ta-da.
Have a good one, Michael.
Yeah, same to you, mate. Take care.
Right, I'll play out Mr. Super Sidewinder and Lucky Haskins. I think it's Helpless. Helpless? Yeah, Helpless it's called.
Yeah, the globe is finished, you know. It's
yeah.
There's a town, North Ontario, dream, comfort, memory to spare. And in my mind, I still need a place to go. And all my changes were there. Blue window behind the star. The yellow moon is on the rise. And big birds flying across the sky. Throwing a shadow on our eyes. It leaves us a helpless, helpless, helpless. A helpless, helpless, helpless. The chains are tied, locked across my door. Baby, baby, sing with me somehow. Come on, baby, sing with me somehow. blue, blue window behind the stars. The yellow moon, it's on the rise. And a big bird's flying across the sky. They're throwing shadows on our eyes. It leaves us a helpless, helpless, helpless. A helpless, helpless, helpless. The chains are tied, locked across my door. Baby, baby, sing with me somehow. Come on, babe, sing with me somehow. A helpless, helpless, helpless.
Milky Askins and Mr. Super Sidewinder. Brilliant as always. And thanks again, Mr. Super Sidewinder, for letting me use the music, man. Excellent, excellent. Bless you guys. Oh yeah, last I heard from Vicky, she just texted me saying she was waiting for an X-ray. So that was about 15 minutes ago. So I texted her back, and there's no tick on WhatsApp. So she must be in for the X-ray before she's not getting the tick to tell me it's been sent, sort of thing. So it's been delivered. So she's in getting an X-ray right now. So I dare say I'll find out soon. So I'll let you guys know tonight on Flatoids. And I'll see you there tonight. I'll see you tomorrow on my stream. Bless you guys. Nice one for being there and chat as always.
Very nice. It was very nice to see you, PJ. Hope you're doing fine and have a great.
And you, bro. And always a pleasure.
Evening, yes.
Always a pleasure.
Thank
Here
you.
the sunset's free. It's free indeed. Bless you guys. Ta-ra.